welcome everybody inside Center Ice Arena here in Traverse City, Michigan for the final game of the 2023 Prospect Tournament presented to you by Bally Sports. I'm Daniella Bruce alongside the voice of your Detroit Red Wings, Ken Kell, and the voice of the Toronto Marlies, Mr. Todd Crocker, joining us. And we get to see the Leafs and Red Wings face off, and I know it's just the Prospects teams, but you still feel that little rivalry between the original six Atlantic Division rivals, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think that more than anything, it just looks classically great.
Yes.
From a color standpoint,
amazing.
It just feels like this is a real hockey game.
That's right.
Yeah, it's always great whenever the Maple Leafs are at Joe Louis Arena and then Little Caesars Arena. And every time we go to Toronto, because it's just a rivalry that's been going on for so many years, back to 1927. And if you look at the total wins between both teams, it's almost even after all those years. So it's always good to see the Maple Leafs when they come to town.
And Ken, the Red Wings are looking to bounce back after a tough game yesterday. A very interesting game, losing 10-7 to the Blue Jackets. Let's see how they're going to line up in the third and final game. And they're looking for their first victory. Looking at the forward core, you will notice that Nate Danielson is not in the lineup today. And they're going to go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Ken, just looking at the forward core, who are you watching today? Obviously, bummer, we're not going to see Nate Danielson. We'll have an update on that later today.
I like Amadeus Lombardi, and he picked up a couple of assists in that wild game, a 10-7 loss to Columbus Blue Jackets. And the thing about Amadeus is he's really good from the circles on in, and he always seems to be in the right place at the right time. I'm looking for him to have a pretty good game here today. And, of course, Cross-Hannes, he had 2 goals in yesterday's game in the loss to Columbus.
That's right. In the 7 defensemen we're going to see for the Red Wings here this afternoon, Will Wallander and Andrew Gibson on that top pairing. Will Wallander has been a very interesting prospect to watch throughout this tournament. He played over in the SHL for Rogla with Marco Kasper, and this is the first time that I've been able to watch him play in person. Ken, I think you too.
Yeah, and he looked really good so far in both of the games that he's participated in. I want to see a little more from Antti Tuomisto.
Yep.
I thought he had a pretty good game against the Dallas Stars, but again, he's kind of one of those guys that's kind of getting up in age right now, and he wants to show management what he can do back there on the blue line. I liked Andrew Gibson yesterday, and he was one of the players that I was focusing on the blue line. Want to see what he does against the Maple Leafs today.
And then the goaltenders for the Red Wings, Jan Bednar looks like he will get the start, and Sebastian Kosa is also on the roster for today. So we've seen the Red Wings do this for really every prospect tournament, and they continued it here this weekend, splitting the games evenly between goaltenders. So hopefully Jan Bednar will get that start, and then Sebastian Kosa will come in about halfway through the second period. But Sebastian is really going to look to have a sharp, clean game if he gets in today.
Yeah, kind of tough game yesterday against the Blue Jackets. I think he gave up 7 goals or around that in the span of 11 or 12 minutes. So he wants to show management what he can do. And it's good to see a kid coming in. There's a lot of pressure on him to play well, especially in this Prospects tournament. Wants to have a good game here against the Toronto Maple Leafs when he's in.
And then, Todd, let's get to the Maple Leafs lineup for today. They're 1-1 in the tournament. Who are you going to be watching for in this final game, and who should Red Wings fans be interested in?
Well, and I think what you take a look at is what has been accomplished so far in the tournament. Easton Cowan has had a terrific tournament, growth each game, got comfortable in that first one, still looked like he belonged, and then in the second one, kind of was the shining star. Fraser Minton has been terrific throughout the tournament as well. Going to see a little bit more, I think, of Ryan Turberg and Roni Hirvonen. I'd like to see a little bit of what they can do and try to dominate a little bit more in their shifts. So when you start to round out the rest of these guys, they've all had shining moments, but as we know, it's consistency that gets it done at the next level. That's
right. And how about the defensive core for today? Again, you guys are riding with the 11-7 lineup as well this afternoon. So looking at the 7 defensemen that we see here, who stands out to you?
Well, Mikko Kokkonen has bulked up over the offseason. It looks like he is heading to his second pro season here in North America with intent and a solid physical resume. William Villeneuve had been terrific last year for the Toronto Marlies, and I think he wants to make a bit more of an impression, not just here at this tournament, but at camp as well.
And looking at the Leafs, the big club, the Maple Leafs, they are a little bit ahead of the Red Wings when you look at standings and how good they are making playoff pushes. Is anybody on this roster, is there anyone that can push for a spot on the Toronto Maple Leafs this year at training camp?
Well, I think the toughest part about trying to make a Maple Leafs roster right now, I talked a little bit about it over the course of this weekend, and the fact is that 10 years ago, you might have come to this tournament and you might have said to yourself, I'm getting ready for training camp because I'm going to push for one of those jobs that's right there in the opening. but there just aren't those jobs in the opening. You see a guy like Matthew Nyes who played in the first couple of games, and he's a guy that will pressure because he played in the playoffs last season, but for the Leafs, and I really think that's the one that everybody has on the radar, but just so
very
few
tough lineup
opportunities.
To crack. Yeah, very tough lineup to crack. So lucky for you, you'll get to see a lot of them playing for the Marlies.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, and that's some of these guys. A lot more junior guys this year than last year as well. So a lot of those guys are returning back to junior. But you're right. When I take a look at this, I see Mikko Kokkonen and William Villeneuve. We saw them already, so we're going to see them a lot more too.
Well, there's a player that are on the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, Robert Mastrosimone. He, according to Red Wing fans, they know all about him because he was drafted by the Detroit Red Wings several years ago, but now he's with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I think anytime you find yourself in that situation like he is, you're just trying to drag a guy in and say, what have you got that can translate here? What can you do in your growth? Because as we all know, not everybody is on that same growth line. Not everybody hits it at the exact same point. I think of a guy like Mark Johnstone who was here last year. He hit after university, got into his first year pro with the Marlies, and now he's got an NHL contract.
Yeah.
And so, to me, that speaks volumes about everybody being on a different trajectory. And for Mastrosimone, I think that's a bit of him proving that there is a trajectory for him here.
Well, that's the fun thing about this tournament. Obviously, every team that comes here wants to win, but there are so many players, whether they're free agent invitees, new players that were signed by the organization. They have something to prove to not only the management for their said team, but we see it every year. There are a ton of scouts at this tournament paying attention to what's happening.
It's amazing you brought up the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs right now, one of the best teams in the NHL during the regular season and, trying to make a playoff push, but you look back maybe 25 years ago when the Red Wings first started coming to Traverse City, they were in the same situation. It was an all-veteran camp, and some of the young guys that would come to camp or prospects tournament had no chance to make that team. So it's been a little bit reversed right now, and you make a good point, Todd, about the Toronto Maple Leafs and how strong their team is. It's tough for some of these young guys to break in.
Yeah, teach in their own time. We just talked about it before we got on air. You talk about, or just as we, 1927, it's pretty even. Over the course of it all between the two teams. That means you've had your up, you've had your downs, and right now the Maple Leafs, tough roster to crack, and not saying it can't be done, because there's always somebody that gets a story out of training camp and out of this camp and comes into it and starts to immediately make you think there should be a roster spot for that person.
Well, the other thing, too, is the fact that money plays a big part of it in the salary cap. And
that's true, too.
Sometimes if you have a salary cap, you need a couple of young players that aren't going to get the big bucks, and they got to make their way in and prove themselves and make the lineup.
And make the move back and forth.
That's right. Yep, be able to be the guy that's the first to be called upon when somebody goes down or you need the extra man, whatever it might be. But
absolutely.
Even the Red Wings this year, Ken, I mean, you hope Marco Kasper or maybe even a Nate Danielson or a Carter Mazer can push for a roster spot on the big club, but they got a lot deeper this offseason, so it's going to be tough to crack for them too.
They certainly did, and I just think that the Red Wing management staff understands the fact that maybe the young guys just aren't ready yet. And Steve Yzerman and his management staff aren't going to push players until they're ready to play. And maybe it's good to start the season, some of the young guys with the Grand Rapids Griffins, get that seasoning, play in all different types of situations, play 20 minutes a game, something that they wouldn't be able to do if they were on the Detroit Red Wings. They need to play.
Yeah, the development is important, and you see it with a guy like Elmer Soderblom, who started the season in Detroit last year, but ultimately ended up in Grand Rapids at the end of the year. And that's not a bad thing, but they just need that time to develop, get used to the North American ice in some cases, and everything that comes with playing pro hockey.
Patience is hard.
Very.
It's an extremely hard part of the game from the management side of things. It's just to wait on a guy, you have a timeline in mind of what he might be, when he might be, but it's not always going to happen the way you want it. And to have that patience to wait a guy out till he hits, till he's ready to go, tough.
And that's a good point, because fans want to win right now, right? And general managers are saying, be patient with us because it's going to take some time.
That's right. All right, let's head down to the ice for the national anthems.
Good afternoon, hockey fans, teams, and scouts, and welcome to Center Ice Arena, for the final day of the 2023 NHL Prospects Tournament. Today's game from Mullen Rink pits the Toronto Maple Leafs against your Detroit Red Wings. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that if you are able to, please rise and remove your hats. All veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders, we encourage you to render the appropriate salute as we honor both Canada and the United States with our national anthems.
All right, and now we'll hand it over to Ken Cal to get the puck dropped and start the play-by-play duties for today's game.
Yeah, let's get the starting lineups going for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Easton Cowan with Fraser Minton and Max Ellis up front. Noah Chadwick, Tommy Miller back there on the blue line. And starting goaltender will be Dennis Hildeby. And for Detroit, they're going with their top line, Riley Sawchuk, Marco Kasper, Elmer Soderblom, William Wallander, and Andrew Gibson to start the game on the blue line. And Jan Bednar is the goaltender for Detroit. 6'4", 199 pounds. He's from the Czech Republic. And a goaltender that wants to prove something to the management staff. He played a little bit in that game against the Dallas Stars here on Thursday.
Yeah, that goaltending situation in Grand Rapids is slowly getting very interesting, especially with the signing of Alex Lyon over the offseason. Obviously, you hope Kosa is going to take some minutes there, but that probably leaves the question of where does Jan Bednar play next season?
What about Dennis Hildeby, Todd? Where does he fit in?
A young guy just came over last season at the end of the season and got a couple of games in with the Marlies as they were coming down the stretch. Didn't get in any playoff action, but he is a big kid, and he had a great game the other night.
Well, we're underway. This is the final game of this Prospects Tournament. Quick whistle to start the hockey game. 12 seconds in. We've got a face-off coming up just out over the Toronto blue line.
You know, Ken, it's funny. Jan Bednar looks so small compared to Sebastian Kosa, but he's actually 6'4" and 199 pounds. So he's definitely still a big guy. Big goaltenders seem to be the way of the future, right?
Oh, you bet. He'll be 6'6", and all of it. And then on skates, and he fills the net.
You don't see too many small goaltenders in the National Hockey League these days. They're all giants. Puck is in the Toronto zone. No score. We've just begun. Chadwick going after the puck. Soderblom checked in along the board. Sawchuk turns, fires. Quick shot. Soderblom pushed it through the goal mouth. Now the Leafs come back with it. Cowan comes out to center ice. Stick handles his way. Passes it to Minton. Breaking it up to Misto. Hit feed pass. Sawchuk over the blue line. A Soderblom right circle. Shoots the puck. That deflected off the skate of Kokkonen, and now into the corner. Out to center ice comes Cowan again down the left wing. Turned it over at the Detroit blue line. Kasper coming back, swings it over. Out to center ice. Tuomisto gets the feed and pumped it off the boards into the corner. Villeneuve after it for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sweeps it around the boards to Kokkonen. He plays it off a Red Wing glove inside the zone. A race for the puck going after it for Detroit. Along the boards, now it's Kokkonen at the blue line, picking it up for Toronto, dropping it around the boards. Looking for it there was Dmitry Ovchinnikov, but he lets it go into the corner. No score in the first period. The puck comes out to center ice. Villeneuve back after it. Looks over his left shoulder, swings it out to center ice. It's off the stick of Vonin, and now picking it up for Detroit and playing it around the boards is Connor Punnett. Puck slides down the ice into the Toronto zone, and a quick change by Detroit.
Well, you take a look at this speed that starts out. This is exactly what the Leafs wanted to do. They want to come out with their signature level of speed. They did it. They were able to do it yesterday, and that game went along at quite a pace against Dallas on Friday.
Had a pretty good pace in that game against the Columbus Blue Jackets as the puck comes out to center ice. Amadeus Lombardi checked in along the near boards. Wasowski trying to dig it away. Greenway goes after the puck, but the Wings come away with it inside their own zone. Red Wings with 7 defensemen in this hockey game. 11 forwards. Maple Leafs control inside their own zone. Silva tosses it across. Now it's lifted up the right side and off is sticking in behind the Red Wing goal. Bednar squeezes it into the corner. Puck jammed along the boards. Comes over to the open side of the ice. Leslie takes a chop at it. Bounces out to Mitten at center ice. Now Weiss will backhand it into the corner. That forces the Red Wings to go in after it in behind their own goal.
Well, you know the centers love this setup. Anytime there's 11 forwards out there, it just means there's more ice time for them. The defensemen, however, they don't love this seven-person setup at all.
Well, it'll be interesting, the matchups. That's always fun to see when you have an 11-7 lineup as the puck comes around the boards right now. Here's Miller for the Leafs holding it in past left circle. Feed pass in the slot broken up. The big Elmer Soderblom comes back 2-on-1. Pass to Sawchuk. Over, across, and that one's knocked away. Good defensive play by Tommy Miller right there, getting a stick to knock it away.
Well, Tommy Miller got a full year, most of a full year with the Toronto Marlies last year. Stepped his game up, grew his game week by week, and by the end was a solid part of things.
Wallander with a shot from the left side, and Hildeby comes up with an easy glove hand save. Played 3 minutes, 26 seconds of the opening period. No score between the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs. Red Wings are the visiting team here this afternoon. They're out shooting Toronto early in the game 3-1.
I got to admit that threw me for a little bit of a loop when I came in today because the Leafs have been the visiting team for the 2 games out to finally get a home game against the Red Wings in Michigan.
Todd, how do you figure, right?
Yeah.
Get to see those Maple Leaf blue jerseys as the puck comes out to center ice. In over the line, pass out in front of the goal and trying to redirect right out in front. That was Max Ellis out to center ice. Here is Soderblom in over the blue line. Werberg goes in after it. Kasper gets there first, moves that puck around the boards. It's shoveled to the line. Gibson trying to hold it in. Quite the battle along the boards. Gibson again, right circle, feeds it down low into the corner for Marco Kasper. Back to Gibson, shoots the puck. That stopped right out in front. And the Leafs set it up inside their own zone.
There's some nice confidence here and some direction there from William Villeneuve. Patient enough and veteran enough to understand, hey, we need to get everything sorted out before we start trying to do something spectacular.
Iconic up across the line now to Chinnikov, and the puck comes over to the far wing. Chinnikov trying to play it back in the line, came out to center ice, fighting for the puck right there. That was Bianscombe. It comes in front of the penalty box down below us to Amisto to shovel it inside the Maple Leaf zone. Quick feed comes out to center ice, so Chinnikov, feed pass now. Vonin checked along the boards, muscled it over on the far side. Cross Hannes, who had 2 goals against the Blue Jackets, sweeps it off a stick to the Toronto blue line. No score in the opening period. Dmitry Ovchinnikov over to the right side of the ice. Now Weiss coming back to pick it up inside his own zone. Moves it away from Cross Hannes. They shovel it out to center ice. Following up on the play, Frasca moves in, shoots the puck, and Punnett went down on one knee to block that shot. Punnett after the puck. He's been involved in a couple of bouts already. One against the Dallas Stars, the other night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Likes to play that physical game. Shot from the right point, taken and off the blocker and stick. Bednar into the crowd.
Yeah, we saw that game yesterday, the Red Wings and the Blue Jackets get a little physical, but I guess when the score is 10-7, you're going to start seeing some of that chippiness come out, and both teams had a little bit. Marco Kasper even got into a fight of his own, so we'll see if that happens here today, but I wasn't anticipating such a chippy game yesterday.
No, sometimes it feels like it's a little bit of an unwritten rule, like don't order off the children's menu. It's just like you don't get in a giant fight at a prospect.
Right,
tournament.
Everyone's trying to prove something, make a team. You don't want to get hurt here.
We were laughing during yesterday's broadcast about how it used to be in the day where games were 4 hours long and there was a bout like every 2 minutes.
Yeah, one of the Blue Jackets' top prospects against Marco Kasper, one of the Red Wings' top prospects. I'm looking at both of them thinking as soon as they get to the bench, both of their coaches are going to say, hey, guys, that's okay. That's enough. We don't need that.
You talk to any member of the Flyers from the 70s, and they'll tell you that training camp was worse than actually playing the game.
They had to put Broad Street Bullies back then. A lot of players had to bring their Blue Cross card every time they went to the Spectrum and played a game. No score first period. Master Simone didn't get it out. Stolen. Oh, and it came over and back. And that play is offside over the Toronto Maple Leaf blue line. Almost 6 minutes into the opening period. Both teams 3 shots on goal. Still a scoreless tie here on this Sunday afternoon.
I'm keeping up with the chat on our live stream today, and I am seeing some questions about Axel Sandin-Pellikka, who was one of the Red Wings draft picks in 2023. Couple rules for you. If the prospect is playing overseas in Europe, their season has already started, so they are not here at the prospect tournament, and those who are playing collegiate hockey also cannot be at this tournament. So just answers to some of the questions I'm seeing.
Well, that's a strange and unusual rule that hockey has to adhere to just because it's an NCAA rule.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense, because it's a great opportunity. It's not in season at all to come out and just be a part of this tournament, but because you can't get paid in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Speaking of overseas, the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators will do some battle up in Sweden in the month of November.
That is a great outreach by the NHL.
Gibson with a screenshot. Soderblom on the rebound after the save was made by Hildeby, and the Leafs fail to clear it out. Wallander shoots it weakly towards the front of the goal. Villeneuve will pick it up, roll it off the right wing boards to Weiss. One man back, Gibson, wings in the change. Weiss shoots the puck, and that's knocked away with a glove. Bednar, Ellis wanted to take that puck in, but he had to wait and pull up because a teammate was offside. Now it's back down into the Toronto zone. Flying down the left wing skates. Ellis moves inside. Good move. Shoots the puck. Bednar in a kneeling position came up with a nice save.
Well, Max Ellis has had a solid tournament as well. He had a decent start to his pro career out of Notre Dame and joined the Marlies last season. And he's come in here to this tournament almost in a leadership role, I would say, and has risen to the challenge.
Ellis, a native of Plymouth, Michigan, takes his position inside rim of the left circle. No score in the hockey game. Trying to join the stream here from Traverse City. Mitten with a shot as he moved through traffic, got it away. Bednar the save. Pretty quick shot right there by Mitten.
Yeah, he's got an eye for it. He's going to captain his junior team this season, and that's a guy who's found a maturity level in his game too.
Cowan picking it up in behind the Red Wing goal. Quickly put on the brakes. Soderblom in after it for Detroit. The big, tall player now comes back towards the right point. Held it at the line. Sova to the right side of the ice for Ellis. Tuomisto checked him off the puck and now starts it up across the Toronto blue line. Whips a backhand around the boards. Detroit's in the middle of a change. Pass into the right circle and swept ahead. Werberg in over the Detroit line. Left circle. Drops it for the trailer. Hervonen to the right circle. A one-time shot right there, and that was Ovchinnikov with the chance, and the save made by Bednar. pretty impressive so far, Dmitry Ovchinnikov.
Yeah, another guy who came over at the end of the season, got a little taste of the life around a pro hockey team here in North America, and it did him a world of good, I think.
Korberg, not a Hirvonen as he plays that puck into the corner just moments ago. A pretty good move by Amadeus Lombardi.
Yeah, Amadeus Lombardi could have had a real nice setup there. He was looking for Alexander Doucette, but there he goes again.
Shot the puck, deflected, and into the protective netting.
Amadeus Lombardi's game is interesting because when he was drafted, he was more of a setup guy. He had a ton of assists when he was playing in the OHL, and then he upped his game a little more and started scoring more. 102 points in the OHL.
Let's take a look at Toronto's last scoring chance, Todd.
Well, I think this is all by design and some happenstance there at the end. You want to create and overwhelm with a little bit of speed, and then maybe that presents itself in the way of a one-time opportunity. Maybe it starts some chaos.
Another note for Red Wings fans, Nate Danielson is not playing in the final game of the prospect tournament today. Red Wings are going with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen.
He blocked the shot late in that game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now it's stolen. Here's Sema moving in all alone. He shoots, trying to go 5-hole. He scores! That one may have deflected off the stick of the goaltender, Hildeby, and in behind him, but like yesterday, the Red Wings take the 1-0 lead.
Nick Sema played his season last year in the OHL. He's a free agent invitee, and we talked about this pregame. A great opportunity for players like that to showcase their skills. Good for him to finish there, get on the score sheet, and maybe impress someone who's watching the game here today.
Right between the wickets that time of Hildeby as he shot it in, and the Red Wings score at 9:06 of this opening period and take the 1-0 lead.
A tough spot to defend if you're the goaltender, to see that transition so quickly in front of you when you think it's going the other way.
Well, the Red Wing fans, something to cheer about early on here. 1-0 lead for Detroit. Sawchuk moves in, shoots the puck that's deflected wide of the goal. So Sema with the goal gives Detroit the lead. The puck comes out to center ice. Braska dumped it in behind the Detroit net. Red Wings have been outshot so far here in the first period by 7-6. And now here's Gibson on the attack over the Toronto blue line. Left circle feed, shot taken. Hildebrandt the save. Yanscom with that shot that time. The puck comes into the high slot, rolled back in the line to Gibson. Left circle feed. Yanscom stick handles with a puck, brings it back to the blue line. Wings in the middle of a change defensively. Tuomisto is back on the ice. Yanscom's shot was blocked. Rebound off the boards right side. And the Leafs to bring it ahead to center ice. That's Minton. Freeman back for Detroit. Finds an opening, Minton does. Sweeps it across, puck broken up. Here comes Soderblom, 2-on-2 the other way. Over the Leaf line, makes his way in with those big strides. Got the shot away, and the rebound chance by Cross Hannes wide of the goal. Hildeby made the initial save on Soderblom. Used those big strides to make his way in behind the Maple Leaf defense. Now a backhand shot right out in front of the goal. That was stopped by Red Wing netminder Bednar. Soderblom again, right back this time on the right side. Moves into the Toronto zone. Spins away from traffic. Tried to shovel it out in front. Broken stick on the ice. Cowan comes back out to center for Toronto. Makes his way in over the Red Wing line. Pushes it deep down low, and the Red Wings intercept as Punnett will lift that puck around the boards. Absorbs a hit. Worked his man over along the wing, and now picking it up for Detroit and bringing it out to center ice. That is Molovsky making his way in. One-man effort into the corner. 9 minutes to go in the opening period. Both teams with 8 shots on goal. Detroit on top 1-0. From the line to Souza with a blast, and that's off the arm of Hildeby. Amadeus Lombardi checked along the boards, trying to work it deeper into the Toronto zone. Steals the puck, moves down low. Penalty coming up to the Leafs right here. It's sent off to the side of the net. And our first power play of the afternoon will go to the Detroit Red Wings.
Well, that goal put some juice in the boots of the Red Wings, that is for sure. And the intensity level of the game seemed to lift just after that. Everybody seems a little bit more invested in the outcome.
Red Wings fans listening, we are less than a month away from opening night at Little Caesars Arena, and you can be a part of all of the action for the 23-24 Red Wings season by joining Wing Wheel Nation. A limited number of full and half-season plans and memberships still remain, so don't be left out in the cold. Visit DetroitRedWings.com/WingWheelNation and join before it's too late. Red Wings fans are going to want to be at Little Caesars Arena this year. The atmosphere was great last year, and it's going to go up a level this season.
You know, Todd and Daniella, I was just looking at Elmer Soderblom. He's probably 6'9", 6'10" on skates. And he's got those big strides, and all it takes is one or two to try and get behind a defender. He is amazing out there with the way he can skate and those big strides.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, Ken. His skating had sometimes taken some criticism, but I think his strides are so big. Sometimes he looks like he's not moving as fast as you think he is, but he's been great. I think his skating has looked excellent in this tournament.
I see a lot of the big guys end up in that same boat where they. That's quite a blast.
That was Tuomisto with the shot. You know, they used to say the same thing about Gordie Howe. They said he would float out there, but he was really skating hard. But because he was one of the bigger guys back then, it looked like he was kind of just floating out there, but he was really chugging along.
Yeah. So you got to use your size not just physically, but spatially, just to create the distance that you can create just because you happen to be that size. And you see it with lots of guys who are 6'5" plus. If they can get that, they can establish a presence just about anywhere on the ice just because they take up the real estate.
That's what I think Elmer is still learning, exactly how to use the big body and figure out how to make that an even bigger advantage for him.
You get a big guy like that who powers to the front of the net, it's going to be hard for anybody to stop him. Well, the Red Wings wanted to work on their power play, and so far they haven't really generated any scoring opportunities. 1 minute remaining in their man advantage. Detroit on top 1-0. Maple Leafs pressuring the Red Wings down low as the Wings bring it ahead. Tuomisto turning away from traffic, watching him closely. Right out in front is Cowan. And Tuomisto brings it out to center ice, drops it to the trailer. Amadeus Lombardi moves over to the right wing around Ellis into the Toronto zone. Stick handles checked in along the boards. Lomsky for Detroit trying to dig that puck loose in that far corner. Lombardi's digging away. Ellis looking on for a loose puck. Yancicum gets it over to the left side of the ice. Here's William Wallander with it. Now over to Malofsky. Pass over. Left side, Lombardi. Slap shot. Save made Hildeby, and the puck comes out to the blue line. Red Wings hold it in. Yancicum gets it over to the left side of the ice for Lombardi. Resets in the Toronto zone. 4 seconds to go in the Red Wing power play. 1-0 Detroit. Here's Malofsky moving it back. Penalty is over. Ellis breaks it up, but Lombardi holds it in left point. Stick handles away from a couple of Maple Leafs. Doucette rolls it down off to the side of the goal. It's sent out in front, hit the side of the goal. Lombardi picks it up in the corner. And now it's shoveled up the wing, and the Maple Leafs who kill off the power play. Cowan brings it back over the Red Wing blue line. Couple of shoulder fakes on Gibson. Goes in after it in the corner. Checked in along the boards. So the Leafs with a pretty good penalty kill right there, Todd.
Well, and I take a look at a guy like Easton Cowan, who #1 pick and this past spring, and he's just got a full game in him.
Oh, here's a centering attempt right there by Dmitry Ovchinnikov, and he tried to slip it right out in front and behind Bednar, who covers up in the goal crease.
And I think that's a little bit of what you have to do in the growth of your game. You can go through junior, you can be an incredible scorer, and you can provide for your team offensively, but at the next level, there's consistency, but also defensively, you have to be so responsible. And what I saw on that penalty kill for Easton Cowan was a guy who understood the assignment. Just make sure that you're in the place that you need to be and don't go chasing that puck.
Greenway wins the draw, comes back on the line. Tyconic with a shot that sails over the crossbar, and the puck comes out to center. Wings take it quickly, back up across the blue line. Emmett Finney cuts out in front, and he ran into that left goal post. Luckily, he's okay. Finney trying to dig that puck free and behind the Toronto net. Harding bounced it from the right point. Now picks it up again, the Red Wing defender. Down low into the corner. Back to Harding, who misfires on it, and now it's chopped out to center ice by Frasca, and he goes after that puck with Punnett inside the Red Wing zone. 1-0 Detroit, 5:15 to play first period here in Traverse City. Harding lifts it ahead to the man who scored the goal, Sema. Up the left side, out to center ice, in pursuit right there is Tyler Weiss. Now Minton Back over the Red Wing line, a low dipping shot, and reaching down to his left to make the glove hand save, Red Wing netminder Jan Bednar.
Made a note about joining Wing Wheel Nation. Red Wings fans that are interested in just coming down to one game at Little Caesars Arena, you can get your single game tickets right now as well. Visit DetroitRedWings.com/tickets for more information.
Todd, you've been coming up to Traverse City. How do the players on the Maple Leafs enjoy coming up here to play?
Well, I think this is such a great opportunity just from you have to get to know everybody in the organization, and at this level, and it's going to be your level for a little while. This is an opportunity to really throw in on something that's a little bit more than just down the street or at the practice rink. It offers an opportunity to be social more than just about any tournament that I've seen, for sure, because the town's small enough.
Good support. The fans here in Traverse City really like the Prospects tournament. It's dwindled down a little bit. They used to have 8 teams involved, and now it's down to 4.
This is the other thing. I think it's far more manageable at this point.
Yep.
It was almost chaotic when it was at 8 teams to try and get the whole weekend in.
Here's Ellis, 2-on-1 over the line, pass across, and that's in the skates of Master Simone, who was breaking in towards the front of the Red Wing goal. Pass over, right side of the ice. Doucette trying to go upstairs, short side, and the goaltender comes up with a save, Dennis Hildeby.
Max Ellis shaking his head a little bit there, and there's unselfishness, and which is the play he chooses there, but there's another side to it too. Maybe pick up the shot in that situation. Not every situation demands the pass, but Max is a playmaker, so it's on his mind to make sure that his teammates are involved as well.
We were talking earlier about the Maple Leafs and Red Wings playing in Sweden. The goaltender Hildeby, he's from Färjestad, and they have a pretty good team there in Färjestad in the Swedish Hockey League.
Yeah, that's the other thing that they've had a run now that they're doing the Champions League stuff. The interest in hockey, sometimes we think it's all centered around, in our worlds, the hockey town, Toronto, all the places that we feel are the historical places of hockey, but Sweden is as historical as any of those places.
And you look over the years, the Red Wings have had a good Swedish pipeline when you think of guys like Holmstrom and Lidstrom and the list goes on. And boy, I'll tell you what, a lot of Swedes in the National Hockey League these days as well.
Skill first, too, in a lot of cases. And, I saw that with William Nylander, and when he came over and he played 2 half seasons with in the American Hockey League with the Marlies, that's as talented a player as the American Hockey League gets. It was incredible to watch him work on a nightly basis.
Greenway wins the faceoff. Now Miller behind his own goal. Outlets it. Good breakout by the Leafs. Hervonen up across the Detroit blue line. Pulls up. Drops it to the trailer. Chinnikov down low into the corner. Scooping it up for Toronto. Cuts inside. Drops it back in the high slot. Hervonen with a shot. Rebound. Here's a shot from the left side by Leslie. And the Red Wings doing a good job in those passing lanes and blocking those opportunities. Miller with a shot from the right circle, a semi-slap shot wide of the goal. Leslie with a drive, traffic in front, rebound chance, stopped right there by Bednar as Ovchinnikov tried to score. Red Wings bring it out to center ice, and the Leafs intercept again and come back into the Red Wing zone. And offside was Greenway, just barely offside as he made his way in.
Yeah, he stepped in off the bench and just found himself a foot over. Bednar sure looked good on this one.
Tell you what, that Dmitry Ovchinnikov has had some chances. He's cutting right in right there. Look at Bednar doing the splits to come up with that kind of blockers or glove-saving goal.
Yeah, Ovchinnikov making a little bit of noise here in game number 3 of the tournament.
What's the scouting report on him?
Well, and I think it starts with skill more than anything else. I think that when you take a look at what he's got to do is get bigger and also retain the skill as you do. You got to be a presence that is going to win puck battles, and they're going to ask him to do that this year.
Oh, here's Bednar again with a save as moving in. Froska trying to punch it behind the Red Wing netminder. Leafs have peppered him so far here in the hockey game. Got 13 shots on goal. Red Wings, on the other hand, have 14 on Hildebrand. Or Hildeby, rather.
Dennis was calm and remains calm in this game as well, and that is one thing that a tournament like this does for the goaltenders. If you can get a couple of games under your belt before you go to a training camp, that you can find some calm in your game before you step into a pressure cooker like that, that's pretty important.
Keep in mind, at the end of this first period, Daniella Bruce will have her special interview. 1-0 Detroit. Just inside 2 minutes to go in the first period. Pass into the corner. Sawchuk to pick it up for the Wings. Moves it around the boards. Marco Kasper had it knocked away by Mastra Simone. Now Kasper steals. Finds Sawchuk over the line. Left circle Soderblom, and he was stick checked from behind. Good defensive play right there.
That one almost looked like it had Destiny written on it. It was just sliding across the crease.
Puck along the far wing, Mastra Simone. Swings it across to Konik, lifting it inside the Detroit end. Gibson after it with Wasowski. Gibson finds an outlet pass to Amadeus Lombardi, now to Sema. Sema, lone goal scorer in the game, cuts inside over the line, spun around, goes after the puck in the corner for Detroit. Miller all over him, still battling for it in along the boards. Wings trying to dig it free with a minute to go in the period, and the Red Wings leading 1-0. Konik checked in along the boards, in behind the Toronto goal. Now scooping it up and lifting it ahead. The Leafs settle it down inside their own zone. 40 seconds to go in the first period. Out to center ice, feed pass, Hervonen over the line, right circle, into the slot. Here's a quick shot, and again, Bednar tested, made the save. Villeneuve with a chance. Bednar made the save again with a lot of traffic out in front of the goal. Cowan scooping it up in behind the Red Wing net, looking for someone to pass to. Quickly turned on the brakes, moves it over to the right circle. Maple Leafs threatening now with 17 seconds to go in the period. Punnett battling for it in behind his own goal, didn't clear it out. Villeneuve holds it in, slides it over now to Kukanen. His shot deflects off a stick into the far corner, and Wallander didn't clear it out. Ellis got it to the blue line to Villeneuve. Villeneuve, 1 second to go, tied up by the Red Wing forward Sema, and there goes the horn, and the period comes to a close with the Maple Leafs threatening right out in front of the Detroit goal.
A couple of threats being tossed at each other here too to end the period, with some negotiation about level of play and intensity, and that breaks apart amicably enough as the two teams seem intent on getting a couple orange slices first.
Glad you're in tune to this Prospects Tournament game between the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs, brought to you by Bally Sports. Shots on goal in that opening period, Todd, 15 by the Maple Leafs, 14 for Detroit.
It started off, I think, with a lot of back and forth, but not a lot of offense being manufactured. I think what happened was both teams kind of trying to feel out the situation, see what they could bring, putting together some decent defense, but offense found a way in this one. They got some good shots on goal, but credit both goaltenders. They both came up with an equally impressive save.
Yeah, absolutely. Both goaltenders tested, as you have a combined shot total of 29 shots in that first period. And Bednar, I thought, was tested by those Maple Leafs, and he really made some big saves. All right, let's go downstairs. Daniella is standing by with her special guest. Daniella, take it away.
Thank you, Ken. Nick Sema joining me had the Red Wings lone goal, the lone goal of the game in that first period. Nick, everything I've read about you has been focused on your defense. That defense is a priority in your game, a consistent part of your game, but a couple of goals in this tournament. How would you describe the type of player that you are?
Just kind of overall hard to play against. Kind of a power forward, big, strong, fast. I play both ends of the ice, and yeah, I'm just happy I could get two today, or one this game, one yesterday, and yeah.
What does this opportunity mean to you to play for the Red Wings in the Prospect Tournament?
It means the world. I mean, every kid's dream is to play at a tournament like this and play for an NHL team. It's awesome. It's just awesome.
How about playing alongside Amadeus Lombardi? He was a fourth-round pick for the Red Wings, and he's turned out to be a pretty exciting prospect. What do you like about him centering your line?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, played against Amo quite a bit last year in Flint and Saginaw, and let's just put it, it's a lot better playing with him than against him. So, yeah.
We love to hear that, Nick. Best of luck the rest of the game.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Well, Todd, a pretty good period of play for both the Red Wings and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and both goaltenders were tested. What do the Maple Leafs have to do in this next period coming up?
Well, I think you stay the course. I don't think it got out of hand by any stretch of the imagination. You created the chances you wanted to create. Your goaltender's playing well. I think you just keep on spooning up that formula and seeing if you can maybe pick up a goal to at least drive a little energy.
Well, the Red Wings needed to bounce back after that tough loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I thought Bednar really made some big saves. He was tested in that first period.
Well, and when you have a game like that and there are so many goals and it really takes on its own life, 10-7, I mean, it's going in a direction nobody wants it to go. But when you come back and you have a scoreless or you're able to keep a team off the scoreboard for 20 minutes of play, that's something you build on.
We're in the first intermission here in Traverse City. We have a special guest coming up, but again, we thank you for tuning in to our stream brought to you by Bally Sports. Much more coming up next and our special guest right after this.
He had practice. Did you yo-yo growing up or like, yeah, I guess it's fun.
I had phones. You know how to yo-yo? No.
You had phones.
Put it on your... No.
Oh, pretty good.
Cross is a yo-yo. Oh, young, 100%.
Oh, you know what you're...
Young,
Put it on your... Yo, that was pretty
That
good.
was good, eh? Oh, never mind. Just kidding.
Oh, you guys all do it that way, huh?
Saw you
Not too bad.
Not too bad,
Our
hey.
elementary school, though.
You're any good at
Like
it?
a freestyle.
Oh!
Like that? Easy.
What do you want to do this?
Oh, oh my God.
He's good.
Do it. See the tricks. Whoa! Oh my God. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, hey now.
It's all rest.
Throw that thing.
Oh!
Whoa. Oh, look at that. He might have
Pretty good.
Oh!
Oh!
No, you got.
Well, that's my yo-yo experience.
Oh,
Too low.
Oh, he lost it.
so when you put it on, look at the wrist.
Oh, it's on. Oh, there we go.
Welcome back, everybody, inside Center Ice Arena here in Traverse City, Michigan for the 2023 Prospect Tournament. The Red Wings and Leafs have played one, and the Red Wings have a 1-0 lead. Right now, we are joined by the Red Wings head coach, Derek Lalone. Derek, you're entering your second year as an NHL head coach. I'm just wondering, what are some of the things you learned in your first year as the head coach of the Red Wings?
Yeah, great question. I don't know if it's so much what I learned. It's just such a much more comfort level coming into this year. I know our goalie coach, Alex Westland, said it just feels like we're starting in the 50-yard line. Our meetings throughout the summer, our structure, how we're going to apply it. So I don't know if it's so much what I learned. It's probably a little bit more of a comfort level coming into this season.
Derek, lots of new faces on this Red Wing team going into this brand new season. How different will it be this year as opposed to last year?
Well, similar in some ways. If you recall last year, we had a similar amount of those additions, some with a veteran presence, which I love. And it's going to be the same type of thing this year. I really like what Steve did. He's filling some holes, but filling some holes with some experience. So I'm like everyone else. I want it now as a coach. I understand it's a process, but I like what we did. I keep using the word, and I'm going to sound repetitive here, especially you guys will get sick of me in the media after a while, but we just want to be relevant. Give us a chance, give us a fighting chance every night, which we have now. We're going to be relevant, and let's see where it goes. I mean, last year we pushed, and I think we're an improved team. You get us in the fight, and I would like to see what this team can do.
We talked about this a little bit during the broadcast, that the Red Wings are a lot deeper now, so it's going to be tough for some of the prospects that you're watching here in this tournament to be able to crack a spot on the Red Wings roster. But this tournament is still so important. They get some experience at training camp. What do you like about the prospect tournament?
Well, it translates fairly well. Usually if a kid does very well here last year, I go to Elmer because obviously he's popping, if you will, or showing very well in these games. But last year he did that, and sure enough, it translated for a good start with us. So I do take some stock in this. It's important to see. It does translate well. It's obviously not the end be all. It's completely different to what the NHL looks like, but history tells you if you can stand out in this tournament, it bodes very well for you.
Derek, last year the Red Wings, one of their goals to start the season was to cut down the goals against.
Yes.
You obviously did that. A good job with that in that department this year. You want to score some more goals. You got Alex DeBrincat on your team. Will the power play, you think, improve this year going in, and the offense?
Yeah, I hope so. I still think there'll be an emphasis on keeping out of the net. We did challenge our group in keeping the puck out of the net and all of these different kinds of categories that probably lead to defensive success. And we did improve. I wouldn't say vastly, but we improved in every category. Some categories were in the middle of the pack. But not good enough. That's a good sign. Goals are going to be necessity. I mean, you saw us last year. We played a lot of really good team games, but just found ourselves in that tight 1-1, 2-1. We just couldn't get that goal to get us over the top. So obviously we've added some goals throughout the lineup, and that goal-scoring depth is huge. And it's hopefully the way we're going to look. Hopefully we can score throughout our lineup and still have that good team game, but now hopefully we can flip a couple of those team games in the right direction.
Red Wings fans got a small look at Simon Edvinsson at the end of last season, obviously ending in an injury, and he'll be ready to go for training camp. Might not be taking full contact, but he'll be here and ready to go. What were some of the things about Simon Edvinsson's game that were good in your mind, and what were some of the things that he needed to work on?
Another great question. The good is the skill set. I mean, it's hard to not watch him play and not get excited. The package of being 6 foot forever, it feels like. But to have the soft hands he does, his ability to make plays, but I appreciate a little more edge to his game than I had probably thought, maybe even seeing him in camp. And just to see the vast improvement he had from our training camp, the preseason games, to when we got him at the end of the year. With that said, these guys are still so raw in their development. You lose an entire summer like he did, it's going to take a little bit of time. So I know we'll be patient with it, but there's just, for me, the positives are what his skill set is, what it can be. Those negatives are just things I think maturing with. Him managing his game, managing the puck. He found himself in some pretty bad situations that were self-inflicted, but that's natural for good players. I'd rather have the skill set and to develop him than to not have that.
Derek, we're seeing the Toronto Maple Leafs here in this prospect tournament game, the final one this season, but you'll be seeing the Toronto Maple Leafs in Sweden.
Yes.
And the Ottawa Senators will be another opponent in Sweden in the month of November. Are you looking forward to that trip, and how can some of the players on this team really benefit from that trip?
I'm ecstatic for it. I was fortunate to experience it a few years ago going to Tampa, and we really felt it was a turning point in our season. We went there literally 7-7-2. And 4 months later, we were Stanley Cup champions. I do think it's an opportunity to get out of the routine of the grind, something different. You're forced to spend a little more time with each other. There's some great opportunity to spend some time away from the rink. And then, obviously, you're playing really 2 excellent teams in the division. So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for our team to gel a little bit, especially the timing of it.
Just a follow-up there, it's very cool because not only, we know the Red Wings history, right? They have a ton of Swedish history,
yes.
Swedish players, some of the best to ever playing here in Detroit. And then right now you've got Lucas Raymond, Jonathan Berggren. I'm probably going to miss a couple. But then you have Mo Seider and Joe Veleno spent some time playing in the SHL. And there's some current prospects playing over there right now. But just a lot of Swedish flair to the Red Wings organization. So to get a look at that firsthand, and
awesome.
I know Swedish Red Wings fans are probably very excited.
We probably don't appreciate what it does for the individual. I know what hit me last time was when we had the Swedish national anthem, and Victor Hedman, who I think is a statue of God, was tearing up. So that says the emotion. So I think that says it all. It's important for us, but it's also important for our guys.
Yeah, it's very cool, and it's going to be a really fun experience. We're looking forward to the season, less than a month away from opening night at Little Caesars Arena.
Exciting.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us,
Danielle.
Derek.
And nice seeing you again. Thanks for having me.
Derek Lalonde, the head coach of your Detroit Red Wings, will be back with more from the 2023 Prospect Tournament after this.
Hi Red Wings fans, this is Thomas Holmström here in Sweden. Come visit me and the Red Wings this November for once-in-a-lifetime trip to see the Red Wings take on the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators at the Avicii Arena. In addition to both Wing games, we have lots of exciting things planned for you while you are in Stockholm, like sightseeing tours, exclusive dinners, and more. Visit the website listed below for more information and to purchase your trip. See you in Sweden. Go Wings.
It's got a little bit of a playoff atmosphere here tonight, Kelly.
Yes,
it does.
Yeah, this place is jumping right now.
I get goosebumps every game we play here.
And isn't that just a tremendous scene? Listen to this crowd.
This is the best place in the world to be.
Welcome back inside Center Ice Arena here in Traverse City for the final game of the 2023 Prospect Tournament between the Red Wings and the Leafs. After 20 minutes of play, Ken, the Red Wings have a 1-0 lead thanks to Nick Sema. What'd you like about that first period for Detroit?
I like the goalkeeping, and after yesterday's 10-7 loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets, Bednar was tested. He faced 15 shots, several dangerous right out in front of the goal, and put the Cheerio up on the board. So I like the fact that the Red Wings did bounce back goaltending-wise. And Nick Sema, what an interesting player he is. And you can tell he's just so happy to be here, right? And not only is he happy to be here, but he's really contributed the 2 games that I've seen him play. Mm-hmm. Didn't see the Dallas game, obviously, but he played well in the game against Columbus in the loss, and thought he was really impressive in the first period, too.
If you heard my intermission interview with Nick Sema, he mentioned Amadeus Lombardi being his opponent in the OHL last season, and he said he really likes having him on his team. Those two have built a little chemistry throughout the tournament.
Isn't it amazing? Like, everyone talks about Vladimir Konstantinov back in the day, and they say, I hate playing against that guy, but, when he's your teammate, you're saying, like, I love that guy. And it's the same thing with Amadeus Lombardi and Nick Sema, too, right? And, they seem like they're a pretty good combination together.
Yeah, they have been. They have been all tournament long, and now we hope for the Red Wings in the second period to be able to hold this lead. Like we saw yesterday, the Red Wings kind of fell flat in that second period. So it's all about how they come out here against a Leafs team that definitely can put up some points if they need to. Todd Crocker joining us as well, the radio play-by-play voice for the Marlies. Todd, what did you like about the Leafs first period, even down 1-0?
Well, I like to see the speed.
Yeah.
And I like to see some good open ice play. And one of the other things that you really don't get very often, I think, at the early part of any season, it doesn't matter what level it is kind of that defensive commitment that everybody wants to get in here. They want to make the sunshine on them. They want to do the things that make people sit up and take notice, whether they're watching from an armchair or a desk chair. So it's just important for some of these guys to give out that rounded out effort and make sure that the defensive side of the game is in check, because the guys who are sitting up in the stands at the end who are scouting this game, that's what they notice.
During intermission, when Derek Lalone joined us, he said something interesting about this tournament, just the fact that if you look back at the history, players that play well here in a prospect tournament usually translate their game to whatever league or team they're playing in. So very interesting, very exciting to see for some of the young prospects that have been showing out here this weekend.
Oh, I agree. You take a look at a guy like Fraser Minton, who just skated in front of me there. He's a guy that's going to go back to Kamloops. He is going to dominate there, given the opportunity, and they will give him that opportunity, because he gets this chance to play against the best, and then is able to understand where the next level of his game has to go. Oftentimes, if it's just a fantasy moment where you've practiced against somebody or you don't really get a great sense of what you need to do and how you need to grow and how you need to get better. But when you have an exact comparison like this tournament, then it lets you know what you need to do.
The other thing, Daniella and Todd, is these teams don't have a chance to practice together. So there are a bunch of guys that get together, and you got to figure it out in a fast way, right?
Oh, yeah.
Your power play, your penalty kill, your line mates, this is the first opportunity you get to play with them.
It's all simple. Just keep it simple. Keep playing the game.
All right, second period underway. I'll be calling the first half, and then we're going to throw the microphone over to Todd, and he will carry it the rest of the way as the Red Wings have that 1-0 lead. Soderblom, rink wide feed, Casper, right circle, shoots the puck. Save made, rebound chance right out in front, and the save was made by Hildeby as Sawchuk was in there on the loose puck, trying to score, but he couldn't put it by the Leaf netminder.
Well, he got that thing juggling out to his right, and he was able to track it down. That's good vision and good correction. And again, once again, I talk about that calm that he brings to it. This is this is a high panic situation, or can be, but he handles it well and doesn't get scrambly.
Good follow-up by Sawchuk trying to deliver the goal. Wallander pinched the puck away from Dmitry Ovchinnikov. hold it into the zone along the far boards. It's intercepted, and now it's tapped off the wing by Hervonen and out to center ice. Hervonen now going back after it. Up across the line, that's Chinnikov, checked along the boards. Quick shot, caught Bednar in the mask, and then it fell to his pad, and he'll just hang on to that puck in a kneeling position in the goal crease.
I give him credit there for having good positioning, and he didn't necessarily know where the puck dropped. That was obvious, but he knew that he had the right position to play it regardless.
6'4", 196 pounds, that's Jan Bednar. He was 4-5-1 in the Quebec League. He was the 4th round pick of the Red Wings, 107th overall.
He got to play a little bit in the ECHL as well, teammates with Kosa for the Toledo Walleye, but just a short sample size there, which was pretty good for him.
Wings lead 1-0, a minute gone by here in the second period. Wolofsky trying to pick that puck away, and now it's sent in behind the Detroit goal. Bednar swept the backhand. Wolofsky along the far boards, tied up right there by Kokkonen as he moved in from the left point to keep that play alive deep in the Red Wing end. Villeneuve after the puck. Outside rim of the right circle, charges into the corner, spins away from traffic. He's in deep there for the Maple Leafs. Chinnikov trying to center it. Puck comes back to him. It bounces out towards the side of the Red Wing goal, and now the Red Wings come back with it out at center ice. Wolofsky to shoot the puck to the side of Hildeby. Goes after the puck, and now it's intercepted, and the Leafs come back. Here's a quick feed. Master Simone over the line. Punnett tried to knock it away. Master Simone just wrapped his arm around Punnett, threw him to the ice. Silva now right point, swings it over, left side, Leafs dangerous. Here's a shot from the left circle, and that one's off a stick and wide of the Detroit net. Into the corner, Greenway moves it back in the line. Silva along the blue line, got a wrister away. It got through to Bednar, who made the save. Puck along the right wing boards, and the Wings come away with it. It's swept out to center ice. Simo scored for Detroit in the first, had it knocked away from him, following up Punnett with a check on his man. That's Greenway as the Leafs bring it out of their own zone. Punnett trying to work over Greenway a little bit there along the far side.
Well, I like the pace that is these two teams have set in the second as well. Not a lot of high danger opportunities, except for the one at the other end with Hildeby coming up with the puck.
Boy, Frasca came right out in front that time to try and put it upstairs and couldn't deliver. Good opportunity for him in close. Leslie moves it back in the line. Miller with a shot. That one caroms off the boards, wide of the goal. Leslie tried to center it out in front. Rolls back to Weiss at the right point. Shoots the puck through traffic, knocked down in the passing lane. Comes back to the line to Leslie. Leafs dangerous again in the Red Wing zone. Left face-off circle. Shot taken, blocked. Weiss after the puck, left corner, moves out towards the blue line. Miller waiting for a pass, but instead Weiss plays it to Leslie. He let it go down low. Frasca in after it in the corner. Frasca knocked down, turned it over to Doucette, and the Red Wings come back 3-on-2. Over the line, Amadeus Lombardi charges wide. Sends it right out in front of the goal, and trying to knock it home for a second of the game was Sima, but he was covered up, and the puck slides out to center. Gibson will tap it ahead.
You know, Ken, we just talked about it, Amadeus Lombardi and Nick Sima building some chemistry, and you saw it right there. They know where each other are on the ice in just a short period of time.
That's a nice feed in front by Lombardi, who kind of just, with not a lot of room, sent a backhand in front of the net for Sima.
That's his specialty, setting people up.
Long shot by Wallander on target. Hildeby made the save.
That, and I liked his comment too, is I'd rather play
Yep.
with the guys, my teammate, than play against him. And there's, you know, you have a certain amount of respect amongst some of the guys that you face, whether it be in junior or wherever it happened to be. And when you find out, when you truly respect them, is when you find that you are able to play with them, and there is chemistry that takes very little time to develop.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and we talked about it, how little practice time these teams get to kind of find that chemistry, and for them to be able to do it as fast as they do, it's impressive.
It's almost shocking to think. There's, you know, you try to translate that into your own life, and you know how many times you get a new coworker, and the weeks and sometimes months it takes just to get it perfect.
Yeah, I'm still trying to learn Daniella's techniques there.
Same with you, Ken.
Been working
Don't worry.
with her for a couple of years. And
We're getting it. We're getting it.
It takes time, right? 1-0 Red Wings with the lead. Final game of the Prospects tournament. Leafs break out. Here is Twerberg up across the line. Checked in along the boards. Ellis follows up to sweep it in behind the Red Wing goal. Cowan in pursuit. Gibson knocked down by Cowan. Penalty coming up to the Leafs right here. There goes Bednar for the extra attacker. This will be the second power play of the game for Detroit coming up. Red Wings get that sixth attacker on. Greenway looking, and the Red Wings break out of their own zone. Marco Kasper. He's taking their time getting out. Gibson at center, now to Lombardi. Flips it up across the blue line, into the corner. Lombardi chases it down. Twerberg finally touches the puck, and we have our second power play for the Red Wings coming up. 14:56 to go in the second period, 1-0 Wings.
Well, sometimes you can deny it, and sometimes you can find yourself arguing the basics of the call, but Easton Cowan does neither of those things as a choice, as he knew exactly what had happened and what he did, and went right to the box.
That's fair, you know. I'm going to the box for two. No questions asked.
It was me. It was all me.
We had a situation yesterday. Red Wings had a power play, and it was a 4-on-4 out there. The Red Wings forgot to put the extra guy on there until the play started going on.
Nothing has confused me more than that play. I was like, there's a power play, but it's 4-on-4, so hang tight. And then finally, the player that was supposed to be out there jumped over the bench.
Well, and you're surprised many times in the tournament. I'm surprised there's not more miscues like that. And again, we're talking about 4 days being together now.
Right.
All right, let's see what the Red Wings can do here. Here's Mienza come up across the line, rolled it away. Lisowski moves it up the right side, and the Leafs will pick it up. Minton in a penalty-killing roll delivers it down the ice. Minute 28 to go in the Red Wing man advantage.
And that's what you want to see, too. You want to see some of these guys get these minutes, too. As much as you don't want to take the penalty, you want to see what they can do.
You know, I was just going to say the same thing. A lot of this is situational for the players. Play in all situations, see where you thrive, where you need work, all those kinds of things, and everybody gets a look at that, too.
Good penalty killing by the Leafs. This time, Noah Chadwick finding the open ice along the left wing boards and delivering it into the Red Wing end. Wings break out of their own zone as Kasper moves it out to center ice. Stick handles over to the left side. Makes his way around Ellis. Goes after the puck behind the goal. Cross Hannes. 2 goals in yesterday's game against the Blue Jackets. Worked it to the line to Amisto. Surveying the situation. Plays it in the slot. Kasper to Amisto. Right circle to Cross Hannes. He's the trigger man on this power play. Keep an eye on him. Hannes, right circle. Moves in. Shoots the puck off a skate and wide of the Toronto goal. Kasper dumped it behind the net. Sawchuk delivers it to Hannes again. Outside rim of the right circle. To Amisto to Hannes, or Cross Hannes again. Pounds it back in the line to Amisto. Left circle Kasper in the slot. Hannes shoots the puck and that one knocked wide of the goal. Again, he's the trigger man there. Hannes says the puck goes down low. Good pressure by Detroit, trying to take a 2-0 lead. Hannes again pulls the shot. He scores! From the right circle upstairs, beating Hildeby. Power play goal, 2-0 Detroit.
Cross Hannes liked that one. You could tell by his little celebration, but he was just cleared to play last week after a shoulder injury last season. So you know he really wanted to get back in some game action, and this tournament has been great for him. He's been effective in every single game. And that was a beauty right there. He had 2 goals yesterday as well.
Well, it was a terrific setup that didn't quite work out the first time, and on the second attempt, there's just a terrific release here, quick on and off the stick, no fooling about. And as you said, I mean, he just knew, he felt that one the way it needed to be felt.
3 goals in his last 2 games, Cross Hannes, and that power play goal gives the Wings the 2-0 lead. Time of the goal, 6:59 of the second period.
Just something to keep your eye on within the next few minutes. The Red Wings tend to switch their goaltenders at the halfway point in the game. We are approaching that, so we might get to see one more look at Sebastian Kosa in this tournament.
They won't keep Bednar in there and try to pitch the shutout today, or what?
Maybe. History shows they change their goaltender.
I agree with that. I think Kosa, they want to see Kosa play a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a few short moments. 2-0 Detroit. Now moving out in front of the goal. Trying to knock it home right there was Ryan Twerberg, and he is looking up at the rafters thinking he could have put that one in. Maybe got high-sticked a little bit, too, on the play.
I think a little follow-up there, too, and that's something you definitely want to see as a coach. Ovchinnikov came in after Turberg had taken the shot to follow up on the play, and those are the kind of small things that you want to see. Instead of somebody bailing out, you want to see somebody get right in after it, find any loose change.
Leafs win the draw. Shot taken by Kokkonen, and that one turned aside. Rebound into the corner. Red Wings have had 2 power play chances. Leafs still looking for their first opportunity with a man advantage. Villeneuve shoots the puck. Bednar square to the puck. Made the save. Rebound out in front. Here's a chance right out in front. Knocked away. Good opportunity by Ryan Twerberg again, who was right out in front of the goal trying to capitalize.
No lack of trying there from Twerberg.
Twerberg drops it back. Pass over on the left side boards. Villeneuve steers it over the Detroit line. Wings will tap it out to center ice, and Kukunin has to wait for his teammates to get on side. Ellis on the ice after a change as the puck is delivered back to the side of the Detroit goal, and icing is called against the Maple Leafs. 11:59 to go, second period. Sema in the first period making it 1-0 Detroit. Hannes power play goal at 6:59 here in the second to make it 2-0 Wings.
Ken, I mentioned it just briefly earlier, but the goaltending situation for the Red Wings in Grand Rapids, we fully anticipate Sebastian Cossa will be in Grand Rapids, and Alex Lyon was signed in the offseason, so he might be starting in the AHL as well. But young Bednar might make their decision a little tough. He's had a good tournament so far.
He's looked sharp in this game. He has faced 23 shots, and he has stopped them all. Another player falls down in that far corner. Jansicum, as he picks it up again, second effort, rolls it around the boards. Leslie pinching down low, got it back in the line of Cowan. Fumbled the puck, rolls off his stick, and now the Leafs have to go back after it. Cowan does inside his own zone. 2-0 Detroit. Minton plays it off the boards. Right side Ellis, wrist shot. Bednar catches it right where the Red Wing crest is on the front of his jersey, sparring along the far boards. That's Tuomisto with the Maple Leaf player.
No, we haven't seen a lot of this over the course of this game, although in the beginning it seemed like there was an intensity level after the Red Wings scored first, that the intensity level of the game was ratcheting up. It quieted down at the end of the first, and now maybe we see a little emotion rise in the game.
Red Wings will have a lot of young talent playing a lot of ice time in Grand Rapids this year, but what about for the Marlies, like some of these young guys here?
Oh yeah, I think what you're taking a look at is a lineup here today that is going to have to show some leadership. And I take a look like a guy like Max Ellis, who was in the lineup, and he was a player that got his feet wet in the American League last year. Ty Voigt, who's here not playing today, and you want to see them step in and play at the pro level and get to know the pro game. As odd as it sounds, it is very different, and Dennis Hildeby alluded to it as well in his post-game interview the other night, and that was the idea that all the things you have to do to make adjustments in your personal life can sometimes translate on ice if you get comfortable fast enough. And he said, he admitted that being with the Marlies last season for a couple of games, he was able to get a little bit more comfortable and start this season off feeling a little bit more comfortable. Just making sure that all the things that happen in your real life don't bleed over into the way you're playing.
2-0 Red Wings. Mastra Simone just belted by Harding at the Detroit blue line. And he is holding his jaws. He is making his way over towards that Leaf bench. That was a big hit. Harding now chasing down his man behind the goal. It's centered left side. A shot taken right there by Cowan. That one into the corner now. The Wings will pick it up and play it out of harm's way out to center ice. That's Emmett Finney doing that. Now the puck shot back in. Frasca after it for the Maple Leafs. Shot wide of the goal. Bounces into the right face-off circle. Leafs come away with it. Cowan steers it across. Left side. Kokkonen checked in along the end boards behind the Detroit netminder Bednar. Finney dumped it loose, and up the right side, the Wings bring it out to center ice. Cowan picking it up in stride inside his own zone. 9.5 to go in the second period. 2-0 Detroit from the left side of the ice. It's Cowan muscling it to the side of the Detroit net. Gibson plays it around the boards. Villeneuve, though, for Toronto, holds it in. Sticks it around the near side. Weiss picking it up in the corner, flips it down low. In behind the goal, Twerberg trying to wrap it around, but that one was intercepted. Actually, that was Jacob Frasca who tried to put that puck in on the wraparound. Miller pinches down low for the Leafs to play it into the corner.
You can easily think that you come into a tournament like this and it's going to be a little bit like an all-star game. We're just going to get out here and enjoy ourselves, have a little fun, all the camaraderie. And then suddenly the game gets on the line, and you want to make sure that you've got your head up. You want to make sure that you're playing some hockey here, because this is the real stuff.
8:40 to go. Minton moves in with a shot, and a late save right there by Bednar, who got his arm on it, maybe got the glove on it as well. Amadeus Lombardi feathers it over. Cross-handed to Lombardi. Charges over the Maple Leaf line. Good non-stop action here in the second period. 2-0 Detroit. Along the far side, that's Fraser Minton playing it into the corner. Leafs bounce it out to center ice. Lombardi now stealing the puck. Hervonen in over the Red Wing line. Sema working him over. Hervonen into the corner with a bouncing puck. Lays it in behind the net. Chinnikov checked in along the boards. The end boards by Tuomisto, who works him over. And now picking it up, Miancicum for Detroit. Skates up the right wing boards, out to the red line at center. Knocked off the puck. Leafs come back in over the blue line. Chinnikov angles over, right circle, trying to make a play. Cuts out in front, and he got the shot away on a backhand, knocked away by the goaltender Bednar. Ellis turning it down into the corner, back to the blue line it comes. Silva in the high slot. Ellis turns and fires, and that was a terrific shot and a beautiful glove save by Bednar.
Great put together and great control from the Leafs on the puck when Terberg comes in, but the finish of the play you got to hand to Bednar. He just looked beautiful on that one, kept his eye on everything that was going on in front of him, then put it right where he needed to put it when Ellis took the shot.
Good game by Bednar, and he is relieved by Sebastian Kosa, who is scratching up the goal crease in the end to our right. And Todd, I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, and you can take it the rest of the way.
What a way to go out for Bednar on a high note right there. Like, if you're going to go out of the game halfway through the game, that's the one to go out on.
You know, I'm hoping that motivated Sebastian Kosa a little bit, because we've seen him start the previous two games and then be relieved halfway through. Maybe this will give him a little bit of a different energy. He's coming in with a 2-goal lead as it is, and hopefully he can play sharp and finish this tournament on a high note as well.
Well, that's more than anything just from a growth of a player standpoint. You just want to see the player come into this thing, be in a comfortable spot where he wants to be in, rather than come away from it saying that was a worthless exercise. Nobody wants to walk away from this 3-game tournament with that thought in their head.
It's got to be pressure on Kosa right now, knowing the fact that Bednar just made a terrific save. He's kept the Leafs off the scoreboard. What you don't want to see happen is giving up a first goal on a first shot.
Yeah, you'd like to see him rise to the occasion here. But another thing is, don't put too much stock into what you've seen from him just in this tournament, because he really did improve a lot throughout the season in the ECHL with Toledo.
Oh, no doubt. And you got to respect the puck wherever you are and whatever league you're in. There's a lot of great goal scorers in the ECHL, and some nights goaltenders can be under siege there. Here's a chance for Kokkonen as it is blocked out front and picked up by Ellis once again, bringing a little bit of speed. Villanova in close, little tip out front, but Kosa makes the save.
Well, they're testing him early, right?
Yeah. Riley Sochuk, too, making a nice play to kind of slide in front and make sure there wasn't a wide open shot against Kosa for his first shot faced.
31 shots by the Maple Leafs in the hockey game.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really peppering the Red Wing netminders.
You've got to throw that out there for them. Down a couple of goals here, you've got to start throwing everything you can out front. You hope to pick up the win. And down along the near boards it goes. Hannes. Miller takes it from there. Tommy Miller steps behind and gets a little help from Greenway. Kicking it ahead. Mastro Simone back on the ice after that hit. Comes back to Chadwick at the blue line, and a little mishandle from Miller and allows Malofsky to move it, but Brendan Lazowski picks it up and brings it right back in to the Red Wing zone. Hunnett gets control of the puck, chips it off the glass, but not out. Down low into the corner. Tyconic was waiting for that one, but it comes right back the other way. Lazowski on top of it one more time and kept in at the blue line on goal, but off into the boards. Played out to Minton, centered, second try, third try, scores! And this one was just sheer will and determination by the Leafs to power it past as Kosa gives up the goal to make it 2-1.
Well, the Leafs just didn't give up right there. And again, it's not all about the goalkeeper. It's about the players in front of the net, too, that have to do their job and try and get that puck away and help out the goaltender a little bit right there.
That was quite a bit of sustained pressure from the Leafs there to finally get one in the back of the net.
And you give that to Brandon Lazowski, 7th round pick, 2022. 7th round picks have become a legendary spot for the Leafs. They're just finding these late picks and having a little bit of success with them. There's Minton comes back up ice, and Sema jousting for it. Sova, Tyconic moves it around into the corner, digging it off the wall, leaning back on it, moving the puck ahead. Here's Sova cutting to the goal. He takes the shot, and good opportunity and a good power move by Sova, but he's got to get back here as the Wings have 3 coming back. Terberg picks it off, comes back, 2-on-1. Now Frasca scores! Evened up at 2 apiece. But Terberg makes this happen, intercepting the pass, breaking across the blue line, 2-on-1. Frasca saw it, joined in to make it 3, and he ties up the game at 2 apiece at 14:59 of the second period.
You know, Todd, I was just going to say Silva made a really good play right before that goal where he charged in along the wing, had an opportunity to score, and then, right back the other way. They had numbers going into the Red Wing zone, and Frasca makes it a 2-2 game.
This is an important tournament for a guy like Jacob Frasca. He's a free agent invite to the tournament, trying to earn himself a job. You make plays like that, you see the vision like that, you may have got the interest you were looking for.
2 goals, 56 seconds apart, and the Leafs have tied it up 2-2.
We've seen it a few times from the Red Wings throughout the tournament, just giving up those odd man rushes. That was almost a 4-on-1 heading in to score, and something they're definitely going to want to clean up.
Letting it down into the corner. Keeping it in. Terberg steals it away again. He's got a step there. He gives it over to Ovchinnikov, who goes cross ice. Kokkonen plays it down low. Terberg looking to make the play. Steps out to the dot. Quickly moves it over to Villeneuve. Takes the shot, and he caught Hervonen in the hip. And now they'll joust forward along the end boards. Wings bring it up and out. Soderblom crossed the line, looked awkward and looked offside, and indeed the whistle indicates it was. 3:59 to play, all tied up at 2 apiece here in period number 2.
A little late whistle there by the linesman. I think everybody knew that was going to be offside, but they made the right call. The faceoff coming out at center ice.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a little bit felt like passenger there situation, and all of a sudden you realize, oh yeah, I know I'm driving this thing. And gets the whistle out. And Chadwick goes after it into the corner. Miller moves it quickly. Punnett keeps it in. Lifts it down the wall, gets it back, and then sends it down into the corner. Cross Hannes. Puck pops right to Max Ellis, and he brings it back out. Cowan makes sure he doesn't get put onto the ground. Holds up on the hit. Right back the other way. Bounce off the board. Hannes with a step. Gets in backhand. Scooped up by Hildeby.
What a pass by Finney to bounce it a backhand off the boards, and that sent Hannes flying in over the blue line, and that was a beautiful save by Hildeby right there.
It's a nice touch pass, too. A nice drop off the boards.
You know, sometimes that's all it takes. Everyone can skate well right now when you play hockey, and you don't see it like back in the 50s where guys are running on their skates. Everybody can skate, And you give them just a little bit of an edge on a pass like that, and it can cause some damage.
Just a reminder, the streams all weekend long were brought to us by Bally Sports. You can stream Red Wings games on the Bally Sports app this year as well.
So many great options to catch hockey. Top of the circle, in off the stick. Wander plays it back behind the goal. Quick to it, Sema, and now Greenway is able to pry it loose out of the pile. And long pass up through center. Here's Lazowski again. He takes the shot, but a good stick by Gibson means that one goes out of play.
Boy, after those 2 goals, seems like the Maple Leafs are smelling blood right here. They are on the attack, and that was a beautiful skating effort by Lazowski there to skate in on goal and get a good shot away.
Well, for the second straight game, the Red Wings seem to have kind of taken their foot off the gas in the second period, and that's something I'm sure Dan Watson's going to address once they get into the locker room when this one sounds.
Leafs have 20 shots on goal here in the second period.
Yeah, their eyes are open. It's true. And they're able to find some success with the goaltending change. Thorberg comes in at center here to take the draw. Kasper opposite. Up high, Villeneuve. Kokkonen sends it into the middle. The backhander off the pads. Good vision there by the young goaltender. Kasper bringing it back the other way. Kokkonen makes sure he doesn't get very far. Comes away with the puck briefly, but the Wings are able to manipulate it down into the corner. Kokkonen throwing some bodies around. Takes a funny hop off the door. Down toward the goal and into the corner. Lots of time to work with it here. Kokkonen looks up ice and then decides to go to Villeneuve, his defensive partner. William Villeneuve, always smooth on the skates, comes back through the middle. He lifts it down into the corner. The Leafs go for a change. Tuomisto gathers it in, surveys the situation out front, and puts it on to Lombardi's stick in full flight. Here he comes on the backhand. Sends it out front, never quite got there.
Well, he was hoping for that one. He was hoping that that one could have gone off his skate.
Benton comes back, long cross-ice pass, and Ovchinnikov lets one go, but high and wide. Back over for Lombardi, who's got some help. Cross Hennis out front, lifts it up, backhand, scores! The give-go got. Lombardi puts it behind Hildeby to restore the lead for the Red Wings, 3-2, with 1:31 left to go.
Well, there's a reason why he had over 100 points in Flint, the Ontario or OHL, and there's a reason why right there, Todd, as he just follows up on the play. Hannes with the initial shot. He's not covered right out in front of the goal, wide open, slips the backhand behind Hildeby, and the Red Wings take that 3-2 lead.
There's not much you can do as a goaltender in that situation, overwhelmed by numbers. Just 2-on-1, but still, Lombardi does a good job following it up. Here's Cowan, pushing it back over to Max Ellis. Pops loose, Soderblom. And now Sawchuk racing around on the perimeter. Picked off as Cowan tried to move it back out. A step and some speed from Silva. He sends it in. Lazowski's going after it. Went off his skate. And it comes out front. And it is handled nicely. Just over a minute to play here in the second period.
I mentioned those numbers, Todd, for Lombardi. 102 points last year, 67 games played, 45 goals, 57 assists. Played 2 games in Grand Rapids, and he had 1 assist in those 2 games, but he's the 4th-round pick of the Red Wings in 2022. We saw him a couple years ago. He was just kind of a skinny guy, but he's put on some muscle, and he's getting better and stronger each and every year.
Cowan. It's all about growing into the pause.
Yep.
At that point, Fraser Minton, too, with the Leafs, same idea. He was at this tournament last year, young guy, and now he's looking to be a difference maker, not just here, but in the Western Hockey League.
Close to a minor penalty against Sema right there, but makes a good play to keep it deep. Toronto has not had a power play yet.
Trying to move it back up the boards. There's Turberg again. University of Connecticut, joined the Marlies at the end of his collegiate career. Kokkonen, smooth pass up through the middle. Here comes Cowan. Three wings converge, and they cannot quite keep it in at the blue line. That's beyond Doucette. They'll race to it, and icing was waved off. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. The period expires. A decent amount of scoring for both sides as it sits at 3-2. The Leafs coming back from a 2-0 deficit, but Lombardi restoring the lead for the Wings at the end of 40 minutes of play. There's some intensity in this one, Ken, but there's also, I think, a lot of skill being put on display this afternoon.
Yeah, you look at the shots on goal. 36 for the Toronto Maple Leafs, 27 for Detroit. So all the goaltenders in this hockey game facing a lot of rubber throughout the course of the game. Bednar was good. Kosa gave up the two quick ones, but Hildebee's been tested as well, and he's come up with some big saves.
Well, and I think when you take a look at what needs to happen for both these clubs, I don't think you change the script from either side. I think both have had success doing what they wanted to do.
Well, it's been a well-played hockey game. The track has been fast here at Center Ice Arena, so it'll be an interesting setup for the third periods. We can go downstairs right now, and Amadeus Lombardi is standing by with Daniella Bruce.
Thank you, Ken. That's right. I've got Amadeus Lombardi, who just gave the Red Wings a 3-2 lead at the end of that second period. Amadeus, Cross Hannes had a beautiful assist on that goal for you. What do you like playing with Cross? You guys have seen just a little bit of time together throughout this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, in this tournament, you're kind of playing with everybody, but what I like a lot of things about Cross on and off the ice. We kind of have a little bit of a similar game. We both like to pass the puck, and you know, that's both strong points for our game, and he's also a shooter like you saw there. So he's a skilled player, a very smart player, and I enjoy playing with him quite a bit.
This is your second year playing on the Red Wings prospect tournament team, and we saw your offensive game take a huge jump in the OHL last season. What are you trying to prove here this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the offensive part of my game is definitely my strong point, but I'm trying to play more, a complete 200-foot game. Just to be trusted in all situations. So that's exactly what the Red Wings want to see out of me, and that's what I'm going to try and do. Obviously, trying to play my game at the same time, but I'm really trying to focus on the 200-foot game.
A big third period for the Wings, hoping to get their first win of this prospect tournament. How exactly do you do that, Amadeus?
Keep doing the same thing we're doing. I don't want to give cliches or anything, but we just got to keep playing smart, playing with skill, speed, all the things that we have, and just stay disciplined out there. Don't get too caught up in trying to score so many goals. Keep the pressure on. We don't want to take our foot off the gas, but try not to change too much.
Well, best of luck, Amadeus, these next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
All right, Daniella, thanks a lot. Good to hear from Amadeus Lombardi. And he was a fourth-round pick, and I just keep thinking about when Steve Yzerman was with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He picked up some pretty solid players in the third, fourth, fifth rounds of the draft. And you look at a guy like Amadeus Lombardi, still a ways away from making it into the National Hockey League, but as he keeps getting stronger, keeps getting better, you just hope that you can hit on a couple of those maybe later round draft picks.
Well, and I think that becomes the key in your amateur scouting ranks because the first pick oftentimes tells itself. Everybody knows what Central Scouting has done. Everybody knows that, look, these are the top 10. It usually doesn't deviate too much. These are the 10 players. Where they're going to go, well, that's up to what is necessary and what is needed, but oftentimes it's just a talent level tells you 1 to 10. Your amateur scouting takes over after that, and if you've got a good group of amateur scouts, they're going to pick up a guy every year that is somehow deeper than anybody thought that guy could make it at. And then your development crew is going to take over. And for the Leafs, run by Dr. Haley Wickenheiser, and she has got a great development crew that is able to take some of these picks in the fourth and fifth round and even beyond and be able to say, how do we elevate this person into an NHL player? And it's not an easy task. And you have to understand, too, it's a razor-thin margin. Mm-hmm. And I know you know that, Ken, but oftentimes people look at the American League or they look at somebody coming out of junior and they'll say, well, you should be able to make the jump into the National Hockey League. It is such a vast jump. It's amazing anybody can do it. And the margins between the AHL and the NHL are so slim, it's amazing, and you just can't put somebody else into the next level. But it's all that little piece of the development puzzle that is really difficult to try and just solve. Sometimes you're left without just that one piece, and that player doesn't make it to the National Hockey League. They stick around, they play pro, but I tell you, it's a long and arduous task for some players.
For the second intermission here at Center Ice Arena in Traverse City, Michigan. It's a good one going on here this afternoon, 3-2 in favor of the Red Wings over the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've got much more to come. This is the Prospects Tournament brought to you by Bally Sports. We'll be back with more in a moment from Center Ice Arena in Traverse City.
It's got a little bit of a playoff atmosphere here tonight, Kelly.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, this place is jumping right now.
I get goosebumps every game we play here.
And isn't that just a tremendous scene?
Listen to this crowd.
This is the best place in the world to be.
Goals today. How many goals am I going to score today? Couple? Zero? One shot, one breakaway? Yeah. Hey, one shot, one breakaway. If I score, I win. Yes! Another win. Let's go. Thanks, coach. Hey, thanks for the money, coach. Thanks for the money, coach.
1-1. No?
Or, wait, I said if I score, I win. It's on camera. One more?
It's like saying he won.
I won. He goes, but last time I won. And you said you won.
Marco, how are you?
All right. Yeah,
You own Coast today. Yeah, it's sweet. Like a low blocker, high glove. He was just picking you apart.
Ready?
Are we just doing competitions with Marco?
Huh? Yeah, for sure. Who's your favorite player on the Tigers, if you know any?
Baez.
Who is it?
Javier Baez.
That's my favorite player too. Let's see.
Nice.
Hi Red Wings fans, it's Henrik Sederberg here. I'm really excited to have the boys come over here and play in November in Stockholm, Sweden, facing off against the Maple Leafs and the Senators. I am also really excited when I heard a lot of you are coming over and make the trip. So for all of you that haven't decided yet, make sure to check all the options you have to come over here to Stockholm. It's going to be a fantastic week, and hopefully I will see you all there.
Welcome back into Center Ice Arena here in Traverse City, Michigan for the 2023 Prospect Tournament presented to you by Bally Sports. We're in the middle of the final game. We're in between periods 2 and 3. The Red Wings right now have a 3-2 lead over the Maple Leafs, but these two teams, the big clubs that is, are doing something very exciting during the regular season. They're going to play each other in Stockholm, Sweden this year, which is something that's very cool for the NHL and a unique experience for players, Todd.
Well, I think any time that the league is able to get out into the broader world and showcase the game of hockey at the NHL level, I think it's so important. It is the best league in the world. Everybody that aspires to be amongst the greatest wants to play in the National Hockey League. But you don't always get to see it, especially because most of the games take place at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when you're over there. So what you might be seeing are highlights. And to be able to see it live and understand the speed and the skill level that is happening at the same time on the ice in front of you will give you a better perspective of why it is the best hockey league in the world.
Two very storied franchises. These games will take place for the Red Wings on the 16th and 17th of November, but the Leafs and the Red Wings will face off on that November 17th game. And Ken, you actually have been to Sweden with the Red Wings back in 2009. What did you take away from being over there? And I know, like Todd just said, it's a very cool experience for the fans that do live in Sweden.
Well, it wasn't a very good experience for the Red Wings because they started the season that year and they lost both games to the St. Louis Blues. Things didn't start well, but it certainly did end pretty well for Detroit because that was the year they went to Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final.
We all remember.
Lost it to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
We all remember.
Again, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah.
But the experience was terrific back in 2009, and And that was a particular year where Nicholas Lidstrom was on the team, and Henrik Zetterberg, and you had Thomas Holmstrom, and the list goes on and on as to how many Swedes the Red Wings did have. And the Red Wings actually do have a big following in Sweden, obviously because of the fact that the Red Wings have drafted and had so many Swedish players over the years on their team.
And actually, our friend Art Regner, is writing a series called How Sweet It Is over on DetroitRedWings.com to highlight all of the former Swedish players that are in the organization. And there still is a huge Swedish flair in the Red Wings organization, considering a lot of those guys work, number one, in the front office, like Nick Lidstrom and Nick Kronwall. Henrik Zetterberg is still around. He's not officially with the organization, but he still makes his appearances once in a while. And then, of course, we've got Lucas Raymond, Jonathan Berggren on the current team. We've had a lot of players that played in the SHL. The list goes on. We love Sweden.
And even in Toronto, I mean, you've got some Swedish players there. And, of course, Boreas Salming, who played for both the Maple Leafs and the Red Wings, one of the all-time greatest defensemen. Fortunately, he passed away earlier this year, but he was one of the all-time first great Swedish players to play in the National Hockey League.
Well, and I think probably the player that everybody became aware of as being a Swedish player, and became, because he was so good, he became kind of the harbinger for every Swedish player that came after him. He became the player that anybody who ever came over that was from Sweden, up and right up to this day, would say, oh, and how did Boreas Salming fit into your hockey life in some fashion? And you see William Nylander get asked that, and Timothy Liljegren got asked that, the guys who are Swedish on the Leafs, and they continually play that out. That's how important his role was in Swedish hockey and how it impacted the NHL.
It just amazes me that the National Hockey League can put together two historic franchises like the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs and play in some big games. Not even just, you look at the Winter Classic in Ann Arbor, right? That was 109,000 people that were there that saw the Red Wings and Maple Leafs battle. Now they're going to Sweden and they're playing together one game in Sweden. So it's going to be interesting, and it's a lot of fun. And when you think of the history between the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs over the years, it's just another storied game that's going to happen this time in Sweden.
You just totally sidetracked me into a level of cold, Ken, from that day.
You remember that day, huh?
It's just like, that is one of those moments that you start talking and immediately I'm like, I don't know.
It didn't stop snowing that day, and it was freezing out there.
Hey, that's what you want. That's the weather you want for one of those games, right? It was probably an experience you'll never forget because you can actually feel the cold when someone starts talking about it.
Oh, my goodness. But you're right. You have those special moments that you remember forever, what you did, how you were a part of it. And I just think that an opportunity like this, one for the players to be somewhere like Sweden and somewhere as historic as Stockholm, I think the opportunity is a lifetime for them that is just, they'll never forget it.
And I remember the outdoor game we had in Toronto, I think it was at the soccer stadium.
Oh, BMO Field. Yeah, right.
BMO Field, and that was a game that was a little bit warmer. They had to move that game a little bit later in the day because the sun was actually melting the ice a little bit.
Yeah, that's the other thing about outdoor games. If you have too nice of weather, you can't have the ice out there. But you mentioned that this is a really cool experience for the people that live in Sweden that are fans of the NHL to be able to see the NHL live if they're there, or at least watch the game at a reasonable time on TV. What about even all the European players that are obviously in the NHL and their families that are still over there, and they'll be able to hopefully come in and enjoy that experience?
Yeah, and there's a side of it, it's a great thing to bring up, is the idea that, first of all, it's in Sweden, and that's fair, but there's also, Sweden and Europe is so accessible by so many of the players' families that the people who almost never get to see them live and in person ply their trade are going to be able to go to somewhere like Stockholm and just be right there, whether you're Finnish or Croatian or whatever you happen to be, Czech, it doesn't matter. You're going to be in that building and enjoying a hockey game.
And well, let's switch our focus to this matchup between the Leafs and Red Wings. We've got one more period of hockey to play here in the 2023 Prospect Tournament, and I know the Red Wings are going to be hungry because they're still looking for their first win after going 0-2 in their first two games. Ken, that's a big goal by Amadeus Lombardi to put the Wings back on top heading into the final frame.
Well, it certainly is, and the Maple Leafs are going to come hard at the Red Wings. I know that. Just look at the shots on goal. They've had 36 shots on goaltenders Kosa and Bednar, so they know what's on the line here. They want to go home to Toronto with a victory, and the Red Wings want to win their first game as well here.
And what do you want to see from the Leafs here in this third and final period of the prospect tournament, Todd?
Well, I think the message from both coaches is let's keep sailing in this direction.
Yeah.
We have done the things that we needed to do, and if you find success, you'll find it. I don't think based on that 40 minutes of play, I don't think either team walks away from this, even if it is a loss, and says we didn't learn something.
Exactly. That's the point of these tournaments, as we keep alluding to. Obviously, these teams want to win. Desperately, they want to win. They're competitors by nature. But it's about learning. It's about getting to know some of these prospects that are in the organization. It's about making an impression on scouts and the staff of the team that you're playing for. There's a lot going on here at the prospect tournament.
Well, and I think, too, what happens is you want to you as a fan, you're hoping to see something happen like Connor Bedard or Adam Fantilli did, a hat trick or something special like that is going to happen. But that is not an easy task to accomplish, because this is best on best right here. And sometimes that ice isn't as open as you might like to believe.
We don't want anything to happen like what Adam Fantilli did to the Red Wings yesterday. He was outstanding in yesterday's matchup with the Blue Jackets, Ken.
Yeah, he certainly was, and he and Dumais were really terrific. They had 5 goals of the 10 that were scored. This one, Sima, Hannes, Lombardi, the goal scorers for Detroit, Lasowski, Fraska for Toronto. Todd, take it away.
Here's Ellis working down the left side. He's got Cowan right there with him, and now it's in amongst the feet, trying to fish it out. Cowan threw it cross ice, but it's cut off by Soderblom, and through the middle it comes. Sawchuk tried to move it. Minton cuts it off, brings it across the line. Ellis wanted the shot and couldn't get it away. Little slide out there, and we're back through the middle where Ellis once again takes it away. Lifts it off into the corner as they want to get in a change. Minton and Cowan down below the goal line. Pops loose. Kokkonen, wide open chance. Scores! Cowan on the backside. Able to knock it home and tie it up. Kokkonen with some great vision to find him at the side of the goal. You have to know he was looking at it thinking he could take the shot himself, but he was a fair distance away. And he finds Easton Cowan, who once again finds himself on the score sheet here in a game at the Prospects Tournament, the first rounder from 2023.
Well, the native of Mount Bridges, Ontario, he's only 18 years old, ties up this hockey game at 3, and that was a pretty good play, playing for the London team in the OHL.
Well, I tell you, the folks they're going to want to buy some tickets to that London Knights experience this season and catch Easton Cowan. And Leaf fans are going to want to make sure that they, at the very least, check out the highlights from southwestern Ontario on a regular basis. Hervonen in the corner. Tight game here in the third period. Welcome back to it. Here's Sova. Works down into the corner, plays it back behind the goal. Hervonen on his backhand, controlling, looks out front, trying to find some options. Does. Tyconic blasts one toward the goal wide. Hoping to find Turberg. He's had some good opportunities. He drops that one at the blue line. Lazelski rips one! Top shelf! And gives the Leafs the lead for the first time in the hockey game.
You know what? Lasowski came off the bench on a late change right there. The Leafs were changing, and that was a heads-up play to move it back to the blue line. Lasowski picks it up and enables to skate in and get a good shot away to beat Kosa. That's a heads-up play right there by the Maple Leaf player. Dropped it back to Lasowski, who's coming in off the bench on a change.
Well, that's what they want out of Turberg for sure. He has got some good vision and has had himself a great game here in this third game of the tournament.
Todd, 2 goals, 1 minute apart, and the Leafs now lead 4-3.
Couple of minutes in here to the third period. Cross ice. Sova picks it up there. Turning it back around quick. Sima drops it back. Lombardi looking to pick it up. Little help out of the corner, but Lazowski gets his stick in the middle of it. And now Master Simone Lifts it through the middle. Hits off the calf of Lazowski. Greenway tried to fly it back in. Seema brings it back the other way, but Greenway, who I think was about to go off for a change, recognized the danger. Mastro Simone sends one into the mixer, but it does not quite come out the way he wanted. With some speed back the other way. Soderblom in the corner. That's a good example of the smooth skates he has.
Right.
He got speed on it almost immediately. A little conversation here. Sawchuk and Minton.
Yeah, Elmer Soderblom has played a nice tournament, but it is his third prospect tournament, and he played some time in the NHL last season, so you do expect him to kind of be an outstanding player here.
Well, that was the case for a long time. You don't see it as much anymore that players do get a third prospect tournament. There was a case there where it was they always threw somebody in to kind of say, hey, lead these guys, will you, for this year.
He also ended the season on an injury, so this is his first game action. I think they probably wanted to get him in there and see how everything's healing up and if he's back in that game shape and get him ready for training camp.
Yeah, nobody wants to go into training camp after an injury and aren't flying at 100%. Step out, smack, and that one is turned aside. Back up it comes. Goaltending change here in the third period, too, for the Leafs as Pexa comes into the game. Talk about the goaltending opportunities. Here's Masden Leslie, and that one flies over. In behind the goaltender, Ellis picks it up from there. Max Ellis, long shot, thumps off the goaltender and back out into center it comes. Soderblom from behind the goal. Oh, he can sure keep it away from folks with that reach. And he sends it back out. This one pops out front. Not very dangerous as they move it back out through the middle. With a step, Villeneuve got help behind him at the line. Kokanen. Boy, he had to get on top of that one or else it was going the other way. Over the far side. Bouncer all the way down the ice. Pexa comes out to play it. Some debris to his right. That's tape, or not sure what that is. Picked up Torberg. It's been impressive in this hockey game. Takes a funny hop there as it's at the blue line. Coming back of Chinnikov. He's upended. That debris enters into the picture.
It's amazing moments ago how well Soderblom just protected the puck. He was like a man amongst boys out there. Protecting it and not giving it away inside of Toronto end.
You know, Ken, that's something we should be really excited to see, because if there was one fault or complaint or something he needs to improve on, it was being able to be strong on the puck and keep the possession of it and using the body to his advantage. So that's a good sign.
5 minutes into the third, Leafs with a 1-goal lead, 4-3. Greenway moving it to the right side. Sova picks it up there, waits for help. Roni Hirvonen trying to get after it. Back out through the middle, but not far as Mastro Simone disrupts, and now he gets it back on his backhand. Tries to step back in, but can't get past Tuomisto. Picked up out of the corner. Chadwick is on the blue line. Over the far side, he goes with it. Minton turns around, lifts one to the goal. And that was a quick release from Fraser Minton, but it didn't find the target he wanted. 39 shots on goal. That one was just wide of it. That'll set up for the face-off inside Red Wings territory. This will be it. This is the last game of the tournament, and everyone heads back to training camp.
Yeah, Red Wing training camp will start on Thursday, and then the Red-White game, we'll be streaming that on next Sunday at 12 noon. But what about the Maple Leafs? When does their camp start?
Everything starts, well, first of all, they got a golf tournament. I think it's tomorrow.
Yep.
And so that has got to take priority.
There's a Red Wings golf tournament as well. We know that's an important part of being here in Traverse City.
That's all, to me, this is the big signal, the big appetizer of the hockey season. But golf tournament to me always signals when everybody comes back together, and it starts to feel like everything real is stepping in. Great opportunity for the Leafs and the Legends to step into that one at Rattlesnake Point. But that one looked like it went out of play, and it did. In fact, they talk about great moments. Pat Quinn, who was from Hamilton, Ontario, about an hour outside Toronto, my hometown. He was, they've had a rink there named after him, Pat Quinn Arena, former coach of the Leafs, and of course, great player. But they named the rink after him, but they never did much beyond just put his name on it. And he was able to, they were able to do that, put up a huge poster, and Joe Bowen emceed the event, and they brought out all this memorabilia, and it was great to see that they finally put a little extra effort into making sure people knew who Pat Quinn was. Kids who were going to come along and play the game at Parkdale Arena is what it was used to be called.
Tough as nails defenseman, and boy, he had his battles with Bobby Orr over the years.
Oh, did he ever?
Getting a look at the Leafs power play.
It's their first. Oh!
Pex nearly hands that one over and just unable to kind of recapture it and get a clean shot away, and a little unhappy with himself for it.
Cross-Hannes just couldn't put that one in.
That bounces on you. All you want to do when you look back on that one is say, I just could have maybe waited and see it flatten out, but you can't do that at the time when your eyes are as big as pie plates.
You know what, Todd, I don't think he was expecting it. I mean, you don't expect to have the puck in a wide open net like that.
Let's just say Cross-Hannes was pretty animated as he was skating back to the bench after that opportunity.
That is a great word for it. All right, here's Minton back across the blue line. Now a shot there from Lazowski. He is making a mark today. Sova, little pitch and catch there with Cowan. He tries to come cross ice. Minton wanted to feed it back out front. Never got there as Turberg was right there. And now out front it comes again, and Lazowski buries it one more time. And the Leafs are up 5-3.
7:32 mark. That's his second consecutive goals. He gets congratulated going over to that Toronto Maple Leaf bench. But boy, the Leafs coming out on fire here in the third period, scoring 3 times and have that 2-goal lead. There it is right there, right out in front, puts the backhand home. And the Leafs pretty happy on their bench right now.
Boy, we talked about Fantilli and Bedard and hat tricks, and here we are in a game, third game of the weekend for both clubs, and Lazowski just having the day.
Kind of spoils the effort that Jan Bednar had early in the hockey game. He did not allow a goal in the first half. He actually faced a ton of shots and kept them all out.
Iconic goes after that one.
It might spoil it up for us, Ken, but everyone here watched it. They saw it. He can hang his hat on that.
You bet. You bet. With the statement maker at the end of his time out there. Here's Leslie through the middle of Chinnikov. Boy, he was nearly in the train tracks there, but he has a good long look.
That was punted. He stepped into him.
He shared some intensity with him. And it comes back out. Lazowski out there looking for more. We talk about those 7th rounders, Pierre Engvall and with the Leafs and for so long, and Andreas Janssen as well, and 7th rounders that found themselves into the National Hockey League. And now a shot along the boards and a penalty coming up to the Red Wings as Minton comes over, and Mastro Simone injured on the play.
That's twice in this game. He was hit Master Simone, making his way over to the Leaf bench, and this is the second power play coming up for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they've got that 2-goal lead.
Some head shaking going on, but
now what you want to do if you're the Red Wings taking a penalty here with halfway through the third period, you need to get on the scoreboard and try to tie it up.
You know, that's something that has been a common theme throughout the tournament. The Red Wings are taking very untimely, a little bit undisciplined penalties sometimes throughout this. So, again, they're young. It's a learning curve. These guys are here to get that experience, but definitely do not want to be in the box in this situation.
Well, Punnett was the one who got into it a little bit there with Chinnikov. He was coming out and I think just trying to lift the energy for the Wings, and then he hit Mastro Simone at the blue line, kept in Cowan, and might have taken the energy out of it. Cowan back up, Villeneuve quickly over for Cowan. He tries to come back through the middle, but that does not succeed, and it is lifted back the other way.
Good play by Sawchuk to break it up right there.
Comes back up, Ellis plays it back for Cowan. They'll venture out with Villeneuve in behind. He'll come to the puck, has Minton on his right, steps across the line, but then the puck left behind, and back the other way come the Wings. Vinny sends it all the way back, smart play.
Kind of running out of gas there,
Yeah,
Todd, as
he
he made
just
his way over the line.
Vinny stepped in, he just didn't have the speed to get back and get his chance. But that was an awfully nice looking gift. Here's Tyconic. Cowan, cross ice. Max Ellis out front. And right there out front was Roni Hervonen. Just didn't make the contact he wanted with the puck.
He had a good play, Hervonen, just to cut out in front of the goal and try to redirect it behind Sebastian Kosa. And those players are hard to cover when you're getting that speed and cutting right out in front of the opposition's goal. 51 seconds to go in that Toronto power play. 9 and change here in the third period.
Well, they've got Ryan Torberg out there as he's going to take the face-off. Lazowski, you just want to keep riding that as long as it'll run. Got himself 3 on the afternoon. Here's Sova. Back over Tyconic. Up high, Sova again, cross ice, top of the circle, out front. Just grazed along the ice. Back up for Sova again. Ovchinnikov trying to make some decisions. Good defensive play, and the puck out.
By Cross Hannes with a nice play to glove it out to center ice.
Sova back through the middle, drops that off on the boards, and once again he makes a nice play to get it out.
Those are things right now the coaching staff and management staff are looking at players right there. What can you do to get that puck out of harm's way? Hannes with 2 good plays to get it out to the neutral zone from inside his own end.
Yeah, and no quit either, which is just exactly what you're hoping for. Here's Weiss, holds up. Got into a little bit of trouble, and the puck found itself right back the other way. Sawchuk waiting for a pass here from Lombardi, but he is unable to get to it as Tommy Miller got right on top of him, but drew a penalty in the process. Lombardi did. And Miller will go to the box, and the Red Wings will go to the power play.
Third power play coming up for the Red Wings. They're 1 for 2 already, and great opportunity right now. Still plenty of time for the Red Wings to get back into this game.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That is a huge opportunity right now for the Red Wings to pull within 1. Ooh, look at all that candy down there.
I love these guys.
What's your favorite? I don't know what I'd be going with. Probably the Jolly Ranchers.
I'll tell you what, where I grew up, there was a Lifesavers plant, and my dad was a printer. And it was one of his customers, and we used to get bags of Lifesavers. Oh, my goodness.
Now, Daniella, before you say anything, you're going to tell me I'm going to go after the dum-dum, right?
Oh, yeah, Ken. I wasn't going to say it. I was like, maybe that's a little inappropriate. But since you said it, Ken, you're dum-dum master over there.
I want the coconut pineapple one, the dum-dum. Yeah, those were my favorites, yeah.
Oh, wow. But that, that's one game. I don't know if that's a tournament level of candy or whether that's just a single game use.
You know, that's a very valid question. We're going to need some investigative reporting on that.
Well, I'll tell you what, those officials in the penalty box would be wired after this game with all that sugar, right?
They'll crash pretty soon, don't worry.
Well, there some folks in the crowd, they could be feeding the whole crowd with that candy level.
Of course, we're here in Traverse City. Cherry's got to be your favorite, right?
It must be.
When in Traverse City.
Cherry everything.
A great opportunity right here for the Wings to try and get back into the game.
Phil Hannes with the shot. He scores from the pro tees. And into the goal past Pexa. He brings the Red Wings to within one. Just 4 seconds into the power play. 8:37 left to go in the third.
Well, that couldn't have went any better. A man advantage. You don't use much time, and now you're within one with 8.5 left to go in this game, and hopefully that can build some momentum here for the Wings. Cross Hannes, a little animated again, but this time in a much better way.
You got to give credit to Sawchuk, too, because he parked himself right out in front of the goal. I don't know if he screened the goaltender on that play, but Hannes now 2 goals yesterday, 2 goals today, 4 in 2 games for him.
Yeah, and if you want to take somebody's last minute of play or a full minute of play of what he did, you take his last minute of play, that 4 seconds plus the penalty kill that he was on previous to that, and that's something to build on going into training camp, that's for sure. He had a solid PK and then ends up with the power play goal.
Antti Tuomisto and Riley Sawchuk pick up the assists on Hannes' goal.
Villanova along to Cowan, 3-on-2, back across the line. Here's a chance. Mastro Simone just could not capture that puck, but he gets it out front for Cowan, and he shoots, breaks the stick in the process. Kokkonen keeps it in, comes to the bench, and Turberg steps on, but not before the puck goes over the snowbank.
Well, here's where, if you're the Red Wings, you don't want to be careless. You already pulled it within one. What you have to do is be defensively responsible in front of your goaltender and try to play in the other end of the ice more. And I think that's what we're seeing from Toronto in this game. They've got 40 shots on goal. They've been in that Red Wing zone way too much as far as the Red Wings are concerned.
Yeah, the Red Wings being outshot 40-29 right now.
Somehow you got to flip the ice right now. You got to carry the play and really pressure, win those battles along the boards in the offensive zone.
Well, flip there, a quick shot. Casa hangs on to that one with the quick glove. 7:37 remaining.
Third period seems like it's an eternity, doesn't it?
Yeah, after the first two that just seemed to go on without a whistle. This one is stepping along with face-offs for everybody. Everybody gets a face-off. It's like Oprah. You get one, you get a face-off. All the folks here. And one thing I will say is the Volunteers do a fantastic job of this tournament and all the folks that are involved in putting it on. But the folks at Traverse City, the Red Wings fans, come out and support it. Not just the Wings games, all the games. It's terrific to see.
I'm glad you brought that up because we absolutely love coming to see the Red Wings fans, the hockey fans in Traverse City at this time of year. The city really embraces the tournament, and as you mentioned, the volunteers that love being here work really hard to help put this whole tournament on, and Center Ice Arena runs very smoothly all weekend.
Columbus played Dallas in the first game here at 11 o'clock in the morning, and this place was packed for that game.
Yeah, it's a very good tournament, and a lot of hockey fans in northern Michigan, that's for sure.
And you know what? It's a good vacation for fans that are hockey fans that live in Columbus, Toronto.
Right.
Come down here and watch their teams play.
Weather has been outstanding. Have to throw that in there. It's been beautiful up here.
Lots of great restaurants, fishing, golf.
Cherries, wine, whatever you want.
Candy.
Dum-dums.
Thanks, Daniella.
We had quite a list going there. Working for Traverse City Tourism. It's all right. Here's Cowan.
Did you mention cherry wine, Danielle?
I said cherries and wine, but yes, you can combine the two, definitely. There's a lot
whole
of that
store
up here.
downtown that's like nothing but cherry products.
Oh, yeah.
Always busy anyway, so. It's tossed back down into the wing zone. Ellis fights for that puck, gets it free to Cowan as he steps back to his forehand, tried to play it out front to Greenway. And back the other way they come. Picked off by Frasca, who has one in this game as well. Greenway comes back to Amisto, moves it along, and now with a little bit of speed, Sawchuk sends it in. Finney was able to get the puck. Played out front. Pexa decides to come out and play that one over the boards. Villeneuve looking around to see what kind of space and time he has. It isn't much. And they step back up to the blue line. Cowan down the left side. They're going to make a change. Greenway goes after it. Got to be quick on it. Sawchuk comes back the other way. Down into the corner. Everybody watching that puck for a fair run as it comes back up to the blue line. Toss through the middle. Soderblom moving it along to Casper, who gets the quick short shot away, but it goes high and into the glass. There's another long one that goes to the windows. At the blue line one more time. There you go, Kent. They're imploring them to get close and play in the Leafs zone, and they're doing just that. Not getting a lot of good quality shots on goal. Long one from distance there.
Todd, it's all about winning the battles, keeping that puck in the offensive zone and trying to make something happen.
It's over. There's the shot low on the pads, and it's knocked back out.
Good pressure by the Red Wings, and they just want to keep it going. We're going to keep an eye on the goaltender and see when he's lifted for the extra attacker.
Thorberg took it away. Weiss tried to follow up and bring it in. Comes right back out, but the Leafs still in control of it. Long pass ahead to Mastro Simone. Upended. Gets back to it, gets on top of the puck, moves it back along the wall. Miller from distance, and that one is off the blocker. Back it comes to Weiss. Thorberg, long shot there, tipped up, man, glanced off the goaltender and into the glass, and it rides an edge all the way back into the Leafs zone.
Here's where you want to have quick changes right here too.
Oh,
you don't want any tired legs out there.
Mastro Simone drops it back. Thorberg with the shot. Wow. And that one goes off the mark.
Thorberg was allowed to move into the slot right there and had a good opportunity to pick a corner, and luckily for Detroit, that just did not happen.
Well, he's got the shot, that's for sure. Certainly proven himself as a playmaker today, but also trying to find his goal-scoring touch. Minton out of the face-off circle. Ravonen tried to get a piece of it, and it's picked up by the Leafs back in the neutral zone. Kokkonen turns around and sends it down along the left side. Ravonen, shot right on target. And Kosa handles that one and hangs on with 3:16 remaining and a 1-goal deficit. For the Red Wings, that'll mean changes, at least for the Leafs. As Cowan, Minton, and Ellis come on, the first line.
I'll tell you what, the Leafs are getting close to that 50-shot mark right now. They've got 46 on the Red Wing goaltenders here in the game. Red Wings are 1 goal away from tying it up.
Minton in the circle against Emmett Finney. Souza tries to move it, but it's picked up by Easton Cowan. Draws in, sends it up to Villeneuve. Quick back to Cowan. Looking for the one-time, perhaps, Villeneuve, but he gets himself back into position over the far wall, the battle for it. Kokkonen tried to get there. Villeneuve makes sure to come back quick. Ellis matching up out front. Finney picks it up out of the pile. Rolls into the corner. Knocked off his stick. Back up high. Long shot. Doesn't get through all the traffic as it comes back to Villeneuve one more time. Down the left side. He ran out of real estate as Melivosky got in the way. 2:20 left to play. Off the stick of Cowan. Quick back. Here's Casper. He's on the perimeter, but he moves it around to Sawchuk and gives it straight back to him, and he's got a little space to work with out front. Scores! Soderblom got that one from Casper, and you could just tell that they had the Leafs running just a little bit. and found the open space and tie it up at 5 apiece with 2:07 left to go.
Well, the big fella comes through in the clutch right there in the final couple of minutes of the period. Parked that big frame right out in front, was calling for the pass, got it, and made no mistake putting it into the Toronto goal to tie it up.
Elmer Soderblom has been all over the net this entire tournament. Good to see him get one in the back of the net, and that's a big one. 2 minutes left in regulation here in the final game of the Prospect Tournament in Traverse City, and the Red Wings are still winless, so this is a big one for them.
It's iconic. Leafs weren't able to get by Columbus. They were able to beat Dallas. They're trying to pick up a win in the final game here. As they pick it up, try to jam it in the side door. All locked up. Down the right side. Momentum falling in the favor of the Red Wings at the moment. Trying to move it back up. That'll draw some juice into the boots. Knocking it down. Hervonen. He gets back to his feet. He is hobbled just a little bit.
Talk about putting your body on the line there. He slid right in front to come up with the block shot.
Yeah, no choice but to play the game. Here's Sawchuk as he sends it back over. Soderblom. He slips and puck right back out into center and beyond. Wings trying to turn it around. Max Ellis pursuing. Tuomisto just hands it over and takes a seat on the bench. Lombardi sent it in and then straight out of the rink.
Well, this game going down to the wire, fitting for a final game here in the Prospects Tournament. A 5-5 tie. Red Wings had the lead, gave it away, and had to fight their way back with the last 2 goals to tie it up.
They'll come to center ice. And right back to it. Here come the Wings one more time. Long shot. Lombardi in the corner. Well, if there's anybody you want with the puck, it's a guy who knows how to put points on the board. He won't do it this time as Leafs get a hold of it and come back the other way. Easton Cowan, one of those players too. He's going to step back to the middle, throw it out front, and he was looking for Lazowski, chipped out front, and Minton is taking a look, and there's a lot of pointing going on, but it is going to be Tommy Miller, they say, who sent that clean in, but Miller is pretty sure Lazowski got a piece of that. But I guess 3's enough, and the Leafs take the lead 6-5 with 34.8 seconds left to go.
That one stings if you're a Wings fan right there.
And that was a long wrister from the line, and it found its way behind Kosa. And the Red Wings have just 34.8 seconds to go to try and tie it up.
A timeout called by the Red Wings.
And some surprising news around the National Hockey League. We saw the Columbus Blue Jackets in this tournament. They actually played pretty well, but we got news from the Columbus Blue Jacket PR department that Coach Mike Babcock resigned as the head coach, and the club names Pascal Vincent as their new head coach.
Former Manitoba Moose coach in the Winnipeg organization takes over. A stunning turn of events.
And they've got a very young, exciting group of talent in that organization. So a big job for Pascal Vincent there coming up, but I think they're going to head in the right direction with the talent they have in their organization.
Wow, he's a quality coach, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Pretty decent individual as well. I wish him the best of luck.
Well, Kosa is lifted for the extra attacker here. 34 seconds for the Red Wings to try and cash in and tie it up here. We'll see what the Wings could do.
Greenway, a couple of pokes there at center.
Wings have got a lot of firepower out there right now with Lombardi, Sawchuk, Soderblom, and Cross Hannes.
Sawchuk at center. Greenway tries to come back to it. Miller lifts it at the blue line. Little shoulder check there, and now back in it goes. Frasca just tries to backhand it into the empty net. 23 seconds left on the clock. Here come the Wings. They don't get far. In the backhand, we got a penalty coming up. Hooking is going to be called, and I think it is going to be Greenway who sits down. And they're going to go to the power play here with under 20 seconds left to go. Boy, you want to talk about adding some drama to a Sunday afternoon.
And the important thing is the puck was out at center ice. The Red Wings get the face-off where they want it right now, deep in the Toronto zone with really a two-man advantage.
Crosshand has scored on the last power play just 4 seconds into it, so 18 and a half might be enough.
6 on 4 for the final 18 and a half seconds. Drama abounds.
Oh, good clear.
Great clear from the Leafs.
Great play.
He's got to hurry.
And Minton, Miller, Kokkonen, and here come Casper as he lets one fly. Peksa plays it off his stick, and this one rolls out front, and it is cleared, and that'll do it. It'll be Tommy Miller with the game winner. 6-5 final as the Leafs pick up their second win of the tournament to finish out at 2-1 over the 3-game schedule.
So Columbus, Toronto, and Dallas all finished 2-1, right?
Yeah.
And they get the points. Red Wings, fortunately, don't win a game in this prospect tournament this year.
And I think when it comes down to plus minus or the goal differential, I think Columbus ends up as the winner of the tournament based on goal differential, and most of it coming off the game that they had against the Leafs in that first game.
Yep.
Well, the Red Wings put up a lot of goals in the tournament, but they also gave up a lot too. So, there's something to work on as they head to training camp. But again, if you look at the big picture, another successful prospects tournament for all the teams here in Traverse City. Nobody really goes home a loser.
No, that's right. And we mentioned how great the volunteers, the staff here at Center Ice Arena that puts on this tournament, talked about that. Thank them. We thank them completely because it's always an excellent experience. Center Ice Arena looks great. It runs smooth. Everything is excellent up here in Traverse City. So a big shout out to all of our volunteers and one more to our crew that works on the streams. It is not an easy thing to get all of our equipment up here and get our live streams on the air and ready to go. So a big shout out to all of the guys behind the scenes too.
So for you, up to 401?
Yeah. So now it becomes all about putting together exactly what you want to see on a chance to get into the playoffs and see what you can drive beyond that. There are some extreme expectations in Toronto to make the jump beyond the first round and the second round and beyond. And it all starts here in the next couple of weeks. And I think there's an excitement, a guarded excitement, but there's some excitement in Toronto.
But first, the golf tournament.
The golf tournament.
Golf outing, whatever.
That is the most important thing. It's on the menu. People are ready for it.
That's right.
Red Wings have their golf outing coming up
They
here
do.
on Wednesday, I believe it is. Then training camp starts on Thursday, and we're all excited here in Detroit, too. There's a lot to prove this year. The Red Wings moved up a little bit last year. They're in a very tough division, as you know, Todd, and it's a tough conference for the Red Wings. But I think on paper, the Red Wings are a little bit better. They picked up some veterans now. And Alex DeBrincat, the fans are excited about him.
Yeah.
And, we're looking forward to another good season in a tough division this year.
Yeah, very excited to get the big club in here this week and see some of the new faces that Ken was just talking about. DeBrincat, JT Comfer, Shane Gostisbehere, list goes on. A lot of new guys that we'll be bringing you coverage of for the red and white game, which is next Sunday starting at noon. Ken will be with me as well, so it'll be a lot of fun. And Todd, got to thank you for joining us. It's always great to hear your insight on the Toronto Maple Leafs and their prospects that are up and coming. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to come to Traverse City, be a part of this experience.
And lastly, a big thank you to Bally Sports for presenting our streams all weekend long. And thank you to all of you for tuning in all weekend. We really do appreciate it. For Ken Kale, Todd Crocker, I'm Daniella Bruce. We'll see you all next time.